Order. Order, please. Thank you. Welcome to the Laramie City Council regular meeting, Wednesday, May 6, 2026. And if you would like, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. City Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Bowling.
Here.
Freed.
Here.
Lockhart.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Shumway.
Here.
Vigil.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Cumby.
Here.
That's 9 present and 0 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Next, is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Yes. Siobhan Kelly. If you can state your name for the record, please.
Siobhan Kelly. I just want to say thank you to the City of Laramie for supporting us in a fabulous Cinco de Mayo celebration. I would like to acknowledge Ray Sandoval, who helped us with the Community Cleanup Day. That was huge. Also Nate and Felipe. I would like to thank Nancy Oakland Potter, she knows why, and Ryan.
There you go. Sorry, I didn't catch it sooner.
We estimate that we had between 1,000 and 2,000 people. So thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Is there any other public comment on non-agenda? All right. Next, is there any public request to remove a consent agenda item and place it on the regular agenda? Seeing none. Vice Mayor Richardson, if you can motion for that the agenda be set.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the agenda be set as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion by Richardson, second by Vigil. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Next, we will move on to our proclamations. And our first proclamation tonight may be among my most favorite to read. This is a proclamation for Nurses Week, National Nurses Week. And I come to City Council as a nurse since 1984. And I will tell you that my education and my training as a nurse prepared me so well for my position on council, my position as mayor, and I really thank that background because nurses are trained to identify problems, to assess what's going on, to create goals, to implement strategies, to evaluate and start the whole process over again in a cycle of continuous quality improvement. Now, I had a question today. Why does Nurses Week start on a Wednesday? And I'll tell you why. In 1954, for the 100th birthday celebration of Florence Nightingale, they decided to have an entire week to honor nurses. And that week ends on May 12th, which is Florence Nightingale's birthday. So it begins on May 6th every year, despite the day, and it ends on Florence Nightingale's birthday. And so without further comment, I will read our proclamation. We have a number of our nurses from the community here. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Whereas nurses constitute Wyoming's largest healthcare profession, providing indispensable, high-quality care that is essential to the safety and well-being of all patients. And whereas the nursing profession meets the evolving health needs of our population across all settings, while the Wyoming Nurses Association advocates for increased access to primary and preventative health care. And whereas the demand for nursing services continues to grow due to an aging population and increasing clinical complexities, making a highly skilled nursing workforce more vital than ever to our state's future. And whereas the Wyoming Nurses Association has designated May 6 through 12 as Nurses Week with the theme, The Power of Nurses, to celebrate the unparalleled impact and contributions nurses make to enrich our lives. Now, therefore, I, Sharon Cumbie, Mayor and President of the City of Laramie, Wyoming City Council, do hereby proclaim May 6 to 12 as Nurses Week. And we urge residents of Laramie to celebrate and support the nurses in our community. So, thank you. And I think we have Mary Ponce from Ivanson, Janine, and Cheryl Smith. Would you all like to come up and say anything, or no? Yes?
On behalf of all the nurses in the city and county and the Wyoming Nurses Association, the Wyoming Center for Nursing, the University of Wyoming Fay Whitney School of Nursing, and Ivanson Memorial Hospital, I thank you very much for having us and for doing the proclamation for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi there. Thank you for having us. It's truly an honor each year to be recognized in front of this council. And on behalf of all of the nurses that I represent, Ivanson Hospital, and on behalf of all of them, I just want to thank you. The work that we do each and every day is truly a labor of love. We are helping our friends, our families, our neighbors, and it's incredible work that we're not only just called to, it's in our DNA, it's in our heart, and it's in just everything we do. So thank you.
Thank you. And Dean Smith.
So yes, from the Fay Whitney School of Nursing, where for 75 years we have been serving the Laramie, Wyoming, and global community. Thank you to the Laramie City Council for recognizing nursing and what we do every day. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And if we can have the nurses up here, we'd like to give you the proclamation and take a photograph. All right, and if you all just stand there, we'll work around you. And Nancy tells us, if you can't see me, I can't see you.
You ladies hold still. We'll move everybody on. Good job.
Oh, I see, you've got the people.
think it looks pretty good if you can see the camera.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
There's 4 more proclamations.
Yeah. So,
Not to get trees.
all right, order. All righty. Our next proclamation is National Bike Month. And whereas National Bike Month is celebrated across the country each May as a time to highlight the many benefits of bicycling and encourage more folks to give biking a try. And whereas the City of Laramie proudly joins in this national celebration with local flair, embracing the spring winds, warmer sunshine and renewed energy of May as the perfect backdrop to roll into Bike Month. And whereas National Bike to Work Day on May 15 will be celebrated with a community breakfast at First Street Plaza from 7 to 9 a.m., bringing together riders of all experience levels to enjoy snacks, fresh air, and the fun of a morning commute on 2 wheels. And whereas Laramie is committed to creating a bike-friendly city that supports safe cycling for all ages and skill levels, and our expanding network of bike lanes, trails, and community events reflects our belief that a city built for biking is a city built for connection, health, and sustainability. And now, therefore, I, Sharon Cumby, Mayor and President of the City of Laramie, Wyoming City Council, do hereby proclaim May 26, 2026 is Bicycle Awareness Month. And we also encourage you to bike throughout the year. So it's get started this month and keep it going. Philip?
Honorable Mayor, members of council, we're so glad to be amongst so many great proclamations this evening. Nursing, bikes, students, yeah, you gotta love it. But I just want to mention this every time because this is the 3rd year in a row. I think we've done it before that, but kind of the 3rd year in a row that the council has honored this proclamation. We're really excited. The proclamation was written very recently, hence the spring winds that are actually happening, right, and are fresh to ride in. But I just want to make a point that in the most recent complete census, the 2020 census, that bicycling and community in Laramie made up 6% of the total commuting numbers for the whole city, which for a city our size is quite tremendous, puts us in the top 10 of cities under 50,000. So honoring bicyclists, that is a real mode of transportation, is true in this community, and we appreciate all the efforts that you guys further as far as planning and implementation in that realm. And just one last thing before I turn it over to the kind folks from BikeNet. Well, 2 things actually. So Bike to Work Day next Friday is going to be really exciting. We have a lot of sponsors. It's going to be a full house at the plaza. The community is welcome to come, whether you're bicycling or not, or just interested in it. It's really a great event. We have the African Drumming Circle will be there performing at 7 a.m. So I've never seen drumming that early, but it should be exciting. Snacks, breakfast, all that. So it'll be fun. And the second thing, one of the great perks about bicycling, and I don't want to be too controversial here, but we did hear this, one of the respondents at one of the downtown plan meetings when we were kind of chatting and what are the biggest issues in downtown and parking. Obviously, she said parking. What? I never have a problem parking downtown on her bike. So I'll just mention that is what we've heard. So I'd like to turn it over to Christy and Lars from BikeNet, who have also been great partners and advocates for bicycling in the community as well.
All right. Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Christy Smith. I'm the president of BikeNet, and thank you for, this is a great partnership, and the proclamation just words it so well. And I'll just mention a couple things coming up. Our Wyoming Gives campaign is going to help out the bike park. We foresee great things coming of that. And we'll be giving away youth helmets at the farmers markets again. And then we'll also be setting up the bike valet at the Freedom Has a Birthday. And Lars has been doing a great job that really focuses on commuting within Laramie.
Well, thank you once again on behalf of BikeNet. That proclamation really, I felt like kind of said it all. One other thing I'd add that BikeNet's doing is we're implementing a curriculum hopefully next fall and actually spring too for the elementary schools. It'll be bike safety. So we kind of cover all aspects of biking in Laramie, from trail maintenance to youth clinics. And I think this is an exciting time because I think Laramie is really becoming a bike destination, and so the city's commitment to safety and health of our community, I think it all just comes together, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And if you all like to come up here.
Can't get away without a photo.
I would say anybody that bikes regularly is welcome to be in the picture as well, so feel free.
All right, there you go. There's your proclamation.
I'm just here to work.
We'll move behind him. Philip is tall. Yes, yes. I'll get closer to Sherry. Okay. No, he's okay.
Can I have you move just a tad?
Me?
Towards Philip? Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Can you see Melanie? Melanie can get in front of me. Melanie can get in front of me because I can see over.
Melanie, you come over here too.
Okay, I'm chilling right here. We got it.
Okay, we'll try that. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
All right. Thank you so much. No,
You're going to
yes,
Frame that sucker.
suitable for framing.
Philip right back. It's very funny. It's always got.
He did a great job of writing it. Hey, and just a reminder to Laramie residents biking at night, please wear reflective wear, have lights on your bike. I can't tell you how many times coming home from council, there's somebody dressed in very dark clothing with no lights, and it just takes my breath away how close it can come. So please wear those reflective clothing and lights. Our next proclamation is for National Arbor Day. And so, whereas 2026 is the 154th anniversary of the first Arbor Day, in 1972, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees and this holiday called Arbor Day. was the first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. That's impressive. Whereas the planting of trees is a vital step in developing civic pride and a sense of community by providing an abundance of environmental advantages, including battling increasing carbon emissions and providing aesthetic advantages to citizens and wildlife wherever they are found. And whereas the state of Wyoming has designated the last Monday in April as the State Arbor Day, and all communities in Wyoming can designate their own Arbor Day based on the climatic conditions of the community. And whereas the governing body for the city of Laramie desires to participate in the annual celebration of Arbor Day, and whereas the city of Laramie has celebrated Arbor Day beginning in 1984, and this year, 2026, will be Laramie's 42nd Arbor Day, and whereas the city of Laramie Arbor Day celebration will be held on Wednesday, June 10, 2026, 9 a.m. at Optimus Park, where 6 fruit trees will be planted with the help of Rooted in Laramie board members. Now, therefore, we, the City Council of the City of Laramie, do hereby proclaim June 10, 2026 as Laramie's Arbor Day tree planting. All right, is Kyle here? Good evening.
Good evening. I feel like we were here just a couple months ago
Right?
for the last one. I made it early this year. So yes, this year we will be doing the planted with the Rooted in Laramie board members. The city has kind of partnered with them and worked with them since the beginning of that program by use of the greenhouse cemetery, me sitting in on their meetings and kind of helping as needed. And I've helped out with Rooted in Laramie since 2019. So I figured this year would be a good chance for them to come help me plant a few trees this year. And also, I know it's for, Rooted in Laramie board members, but if anyone else would like to show up, we will be planting 6 small fruit trees, where we've planted 6 the previous 2 years. As of now, all 12 that have been planted are still alive, so that's a good thing. And so with that little orchard, I may have said this in the past, but I just want to give members of Laramie something to visualize when it comes to planting fruit trees in their own yards. So every year I'm planting different varieties. I've got apples, plums. This year some cherries will be going in. So hopefully in the not too short future, people can walk through and see what these trees look like, just to get a better idea of what can actually be planted in Laramie. And so with me, I brought Daniel Minton, the chair for Rooted in Laramie. So I just want to give him a chance to speak for a minute.
Thank you, Kyle. Daniel.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you for having us. And my first question to Kyle is there going to be snow on June 10th?
We'll plant regardless.
Excellent. Well, I've been thinking about trees a lot the last few days with the last snow we had and seeing some of them start to droop, but I know they're ready for spring just like we are. So yes, Rooted in Laramie has actually worked with the city since 2019. This year we are going to have planted over 300 trees in our town. Our mission in town is to plant trees, increase the diversity of species in our town, and also educate the public on how to care for trees. Me and my family are really thankful for the investment that was made years ago and continues to be made in planting trees in our town. I especially think of it during Freedom Has a Birthday, when we're actually able to have a picnic under the cottonwoods and under the shade at Washington Park, and I'm just very appreciative. So I'm excited to be part of just continuing to beautify and maintain the beauty of our town. We rely 100% on volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Our board is all volunteers. What happens is every March we have a tree sale online that folks can come and buy up to 2 trees a year. And then on planting day, which is usually the first weekend in June, volunteers from all walks of life in the community come together and we plant those trees around the community. We stake them, we put water bags on them, and we help offer guidance for the community and how to care. As of now, we're averaging about an 83% success rate on the trees surviving, which I tell you, when I see springs like this, I'm like, that's amazing. But we're very thankful for how the city has partnered with us, how local small businesses have partnered with us, and other organizations to make this possible. It wouldn't be possible without the community doing it together. If you're not familiar with us and you want to learn more, you can check out our website, rootedinlaramie.org. We're also going to be at the Laramie Rivers Conservation District Expo this Saturday at the Ice Center from 10 to 2, so come visit us then. Thank you.
Very good. And if we can get you all up for a photo.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say I was the recipient 2 years ago of a plum and a serviceberry from Rooted in Laramie, and they are doing fabulous.
Wow.
And just, by the way, Kyle Peep is our city arborist. Thank you for your work. And last but not least, we have the proclamation for National Tennis Month. And so, whereas on May 21st, 1881, the USTA, originally known as the United States National Lawn Tennis Association, was founded in New York City to create rules and standards for the emerging game of lawn tennis. And whereas the USTA is a nonprofit national governing body for tennis in the United States and leads the promotion and growth of the sport at every level of play, from beginning to professionals to the U.S. Open. And whereas the latest research by the Physical Activity Council shows that more than 27.3 million Americans played tennis in 2025. That's a lot of people. An unprecedented 6.2% increase in participation over 2024, and the highest number of players since the PAC study began in 2007. And whereas the Alpine Tennis Association was founded in Laramie with a mission to promote, develop, and ensure the sport of tennis is available and accessible to all in the Laramie community, and whereas by increasing the accessibility of tennis for Laramie citizens of all ages and ability, the USTA and the Alpine Tennis Association have contributed to making our community happier and healthier. And whereas USTA has declared the month of May as National Tennis Month to encourage players, organizations, facilities, retailers, tennis manufacturers, and many more to promote local programs and activities at parks and facilities to showcase tennis and spread the word about the sports. Now, therefore, I, Sharon Cumby, Mayor and President of the City of Laramie, Wyoming City Council, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as National Tennis Month. And good evening. If you could state your name for the record.
It's all right, I'm short.
There we go.
Okay, my name is Leah Bergman. I'm currently the president of the Alpine Tennis Association, our community tennis association here in Laramie. And on behalf of Alpine, we want to thank you, Honorable Mayor Cumby, and the members of the Laramie City Council for supporting this proclamation for May is National Tennis Month. We also want to say thank you to our community, and especially to those who have shown support for tennis, for our youth and our adult players, and to those parents and fans who support high school and university level players. So why tennis? Why is tennis important? We believe that sport can be one of the best vehicles for enhancing the quality of life of an individual, physically, mentally, and socially. Tennis provides accessible fun for all ages and abilities. And tennis offers the opportunity to learn skills like resilience, patience, communication, cooperation, and time management that can be used both on and off the court. We focus on building skills that players can use anywhere in life. We want our athletes to view failure as a learning opportunity and not something that should be feared. We promote community learning and are dedicated to providing youth with a safe environment that celebrates them as individuals as well as their ability to be part of a team. We recognize that growth and success look different for each individual, and that's totally okay. As tennis is a catalyst for growth and a rapidly growing sport, when I was in high school, we barely had enough players to have a full team, and now the team has consistently over 60 high school players, and we just added middle school to our spring tennis for that. We are continuing to grow, and we want to encourage people to start playing tennis young and to keep playing tennis throughout their lives. Currently, one of the oldest members of the Laramie tennis community is in his 90s, and he is there he's at the courts more than I am. Research shows that tennis can add almost 10 years to your life. It lowers your cardiovascular risk by over 50%, and there's a boost to mental health by over 20% over a sedentary lifestyle. Our tennis programs have also benefited the Laramie community. In 2025, we held a district L5 tournament that brought over 160 youth players and their families from around the country to Laramie. And they stayed in our hotels, and they went to our local restaurants, and they were able to see our wonderful university.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone with the organization that would like a picture?
Yes, we brought some kids and
okay.
players.
Come on up. Those were some impressive growth statistics over the past year. All righty. Next, we have a presentation this evening from our Laramie Youth Council are going to give their annual report. City Clerk, if you would like to introduce
Thank you,
them.
Mayor. Just really short, I'll let you talk to them, but I just wanted to say I'm really proud of this group. I'm going to get emotional. They've been a great group of kids to work with, and so I'm excited for you to hear what they've worked on. Their passion for their fellow peers is just amazing. So with that, I'll introduce our Youth Council, let them introduce themselves.
I'm Elise Hovanesian. I'm Eileen Mejia.
I'm William Alexander.
I'm Carl McLean.
I'm Ayn Nguyen.
Hi, I'm Vaiga Ramshankar.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm the chair of the Laramie Youth Council. I'm the vice chair of the Laramie Youth Council. Oh. Thank you. Okay, so some of our goals and objectives for this year were mental health, specifically stress management, substance abuse, and providing academic support to the underprivileged. But later on in the year, we decided to focus more on mental health because we decided that it was the most pressing issue in our community. It's all right. Yeah. I guess diving deeper into our idea of mental health, we wanted to focus specifically on the stress management that teens have. And we found that the American Institute of Stress shows that 60% of high schoolers feel stress almost on a day-to-day basis. So we wanted to see how this applied to our school, and we partnered up with Telehope, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on breaking the cycle of isolation and creating friendships, and in those friendships, creating trust. So our presentation, it was focused on self-confidence and being proud of ourselves for how far we have come. And they talked a lot about feeling comfortable and acknowledging that no matter how different you can be from someone, we are all humans, and at the end of the day, we all struggle with the same things. So part of that presentation, we also did a survey within our high school, and we had around 150 participants. Yeah, so in that survey, we asked 2 questions. The first one being, on a scale from 1 to 5, how stressed would you say you feel on a day-to-day basis? 1 being the lowest amount of stress and 5 being the highest amount of stress. So on the graph on the top right, it shows that 10.5% felt stress at a level of 1, 29.4% felt it at a level of 2, 32.9% felt it at a level of 3, 21% at a level of 4, and 6.3% at a level of 5. So other than that, we also asked, what is one thing that helps you relax or deal with stress? We asked them to give us a short response so that we could get the most common answers out of it. And we created a word cloud, which is on the bottom right. And the bigger the words are, the more common the response was for that stress management. So you can see that music is a really big way that people deal with their stress, but you can see a variety of things from exercise to friends to the Bible to their family. And it's just really cool to see that although the charts of stress are so separated and different, that a lot of people deal with stress in the same way. And we also wanted to show kids that even if there's a way of stress management that's not helping you anymore, there's so many other ways that you can manage your stress, and you don't have to feel self-conscious about the way you are dealing with it or having it. Yeah, and just to add on to that, we can see that our highest percentage was 3 at 32.9%, and 3 out of 5 is quite a lot of stress to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, especially because we're growing, we're developing, we're still in high school. So we think it's important to keep addressing these issues and realizing that it's very important to talk about.
Yeah, so overall, as high schoolers ourselves, we determined that mental health was the most pressing issue in our community, and we think that the presentation we hosted resonated a lot with the school, and even after the presentation, we saw some students talking to the presenters and being able to open up about their own struggles and feel supported, which we think was very important. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation and for the work and commitment that you put in to participating in this program. And I would like to acknowledge our 3 counselors who worked with the group, Counselor Shumway, Counselor Bowling, and Counselor Newman, as well as our city clerk, Nancy Bartholomew. So it's been almost a year-long commitment and really some important work. Thank you. Counselor Shumway or Bowling, Newman, do you all have any comments? Yes, Counselor Shumway.
Thank you. I just want to say to these fine young men and women, what an important step they have taken this week in not only reaching out to others within their age group, but also the example that they were to really let them know that we are working together to make sure that their lives have quality. And I think that your leadership and what you have done is going to have lasting results, not only in their young lives, but in their future lives too. Thank you so much for the dedication and leadership that you've shown.
Thank you. Counselor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll echo Councilor Shumway. I first want to uplift the City Clerk, Nancy Bartholomew, and all the work that she does to make Youth Council possible, especially today on Municipal Clerks Day. And just commend the entire Youth Council for sort of the exemplary leadership that you bring to school, to this city, and to the larger community of friends, families that are going to be impacted by this. To see that over 60% of students feel stress at a 3 or above is alarming and also not surprising. And I think it's probably similar to the way that many of us on this dais feel stress, but knowing that you're thinking about the tools with which to manage that at such a young age is really encouraging. So thank you again for your leadership and your work.
Counselor Newman.
This is my favorite border commission, and if any of you can ever do this, I urge you to. I think it makes every vote that we do even more important, because some of the things that we work on as a council, our youth council is doing the same, as you can see with mental health. It's been fun to watch you guys grow and continue to grow and being involved in this city, and I hope one day you guys are setting up here.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you very much, and we're really proud of you.
9 o'clock yet?
Not yet. Well, that was a heartwarming first part of our meeting. It's not often we have that much going on. Next, we're going to move to public hearings. And I will have the city clerk, we have 3 public hearings. The city clerk will read all of the public hearings, and then I'll open each afterward for public comment on the public hearing. But do be aware that these also occur on the agenda and will be discussed with presentation questions and comments later. So, without further ado, City Clerk, if you can read the public hearings.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on May 6, 2026 in City Council Chambers, Laramie City Hall, 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. The meeting shall be held with both online Zoom and in-person option to take public comments on the following. Plat 26-0003, the applicant Kelly Hefner, on behalf of JR Real Estate Development, Inc., is requesting a final plat for the Spring Creek Village 4th filing final plat, which vacates a portion of the Spring Creek Village 2nd filing and 3rd filing amended and creates 18 residential lots on a 1.34 acre site in a B1 ROB zoned district located south of Spring Creek, west of 9th Street, and south of Sanders Drive. To consider and approve the West Side Urban Renewal Plan and Project for a lot located north of Garfield Street, east of Laramie River, south of Snowy Range Road, Clark Street, identifying and recognizing this area is located in an urban renewal area, and that it includes blighted areas that qualifies it for plan and project, and that if approved, possible funding could be used for public improvements and development within the plan and project area. And third, original resolution number 2121, amending multiple sections within Laramie Municipal Code, Chapter 15, for the purpose of updating, amending, adding, and deleting select sections of the ICC 2024 Code within City Code as submitted by the City of Laramie. All applications, plans, and specifications relative to these matters are available for review at the City of Laramie Planning Office at 405 Grand Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be represented by, anyone wishing to be heard should be present at City Council Chambers or via webinar 838-7531-6646, passcode 858600. Written comments may be mailed to the City Council, care of City of Laramie Planning Office, P.O. Box C, Laramie, Wyoming 82073. For questions or information, contact City Planning at the address above, by telephone at 307-721-5207, or email at planning@cityoflaramie.org. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. And so, is there any public comment on the public hearing Spring Creek Village final plat? Seeing none, is there any public hearing on any public comment on the public hearing West Side Urban Renewal? Mr. Glass?
Good evening, Mayor Cumbie and members of council. I'm going to urge you to vote against the resolution when it comes up later tonight because, well, this plan is not urban, it's not renewal, the area isn't blighted, and state statute specifically says that an urban renewal agency is there to remove things that are a menace to public health and safety. It's not a housing agency, and an attempt to change the law to make it so was actually rejected by our state legislature. To approve this would be an abuse of the Urban Renewal Agency, which has good uses. This is not one of them. And in particular, The plan that's before you tonight doesn't meet the statutory requirements. The statutory requirement, if you look at the statute, gives specific criteria for what is a workable urban renewal plan. Well, not only does this not give you a workable plan, this document, it in fact doesn't give a plan at all. It doesn't say anything about what would be done with the land in question. It doesn't talk about how it would be developed in any way. It just doesn't meet the criteria in the statute. So for that reason alone, you should vote against it this evening. I'm sure there are going to be other comments talking about other reasons why the public does not desire this, but that's from a legal standpoint, again, you should turn it down just on that basis, because if there's going to be a plan, there should be a real workable plan as per statute. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. Any further public comment on this public hearing? Mr. Henderson, if you can state your name for the record.
Thank you. My name is Eric Henderson. And I would like to first state my concern that is one for my property in West Side Historic District. I am not relieved by any conversation that's been held thus far in the Planning Commission or in any other city endeavor that has relieved me of my concern regarding handling of the water table to the historic district in its entirety. Anytime the water level increases, that entire neighborhood is affected and impacted, and there's been nothing but continued development on top of concerned infrastructure that has been acknowledged by the city of Laramie as underfunded in decades and decades of operation. My second is this 32 acres spot, this acreage currently costs the city nothing. It doesn't cost in terms of fire. It doesn't cost in terms of public police operations needing to be called there, and to apply a measure, tax incremental financing, over a span of 20 to 30 years potentially, is of great concern to me financially, that our city, our county, will forego roughly $3,700 annually in income, and now forego those monies being taken in as they are repaying that tax incremental measure. So I would ask that you vote against this, and I thank you for this time.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson. Is there any other public comment on this public hearing? And this will come up again. Yes. Mr. Ralston. If you could state your name for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Brer Ralston, and I'm just here in support for a yes for the resolution later. I'm someone who's been talking a lot with constituents in the community just about the vision for housing in Laramie and opportunities to get young people homes and possible equity out of those homes eventually down the road. And I just think that the plan itself, although not maybe as direct, like this is exactly what we're going to build and this is exactly how we're going to do it, it does incentivize the building of certain things by private developers that would encourage the housing that Laramie needs. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm a big advocate for access to resources, and I do think housing is a resource. And so I encourage you to vote yes on this, and I look forward to hearing about it later.
Thank you, Mr. Ralston. Any further public comment on this public hearing?
Mayor and Laramie City Council, I'm Ann Brand, Albany County Conservancy. Members of our Conservancy urge you not to vote in favor of this resolution at this point in juncture. We ask you to exercise your authority under Wyoming law and follow Statute 15, Title 9, 101 through 110. The local governing body shall review and make recommendations as to its conformity with the general plan for the development of the entire municipality. And I did mention this at the Planning Commission meeting as well. I would like to I'm compelled at this point to point out to you that in 1985, the Great Cheyenne Flood turned Cheyenne city streets into rivers. It destroyed infrastructure and it killed 12 Cheyenne residents, including a Laramie County Deputy, Robert Van Allen. He was attempting to rescue a child. This struck home with me because that's the year I graduated from Central High School, and I lived in Western Hills, and there was a dry creek bed that flooded that year. So I would like to urge you to think about this. At the Planning Commission, Donna O'Toole asked the project developer, Mr. Christensen, regarding some projects in Cheyenne, if any of them were near Crow Creek, if he knew of Mystic, Texas. So I think he was alluding to this kind of situation. And I specifically heard the word unaware. You cannot afford to be unaware when you deal with a FEMA-designated extreme floodplain. In today's Laramie Boomerang, the 6-penny tax passed. And I voted in favor of that tax because we need to have an animal shelter. We need to have communications for our fire department. I did notice that on item D, as did many of the members of my conservancy, that it wasn't so clearly allocated on the ballot where that $4 million would specifically go. So how can you assure the members of the Albany County Conservancy that that money isn't going to be used specifically to attend to storm drainage issues on the 4G property, to incentivize that property to sell for the highest dollar amount because it could be TIF to a private for-profit out-of-state developer like, say, for example, the Stencil Group? Because we don't know who's going to be down the road. And I did want to point out the City of Laramie Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 11.3, Conservation. Of these important areas identified, the Casper Aquifer and the Laramie River were considered especially important.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment on this public hearing?
And Mayor, if we can, I just want to make sure, I'm not sure that there was clarity on the tax ballot stormwater drainage. There wasn't anything that said this is going to be used for that property. That's a separate item, so I just want to make sure that's really clear to the public.
Thank you. And then,
There's another gentleman with his hand up.
yes, sir. Good evening, and if you can state your name for the record, please.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Nick Castle. Thank you guys for hosting this and allowing us to speak our mind. As a young professional and City of Laramie employee, I love this community. I love this city. I hope to one day own a home here and make a life here. So I'm urging you to vote yes on this resolution because anything that'll move us towards more housing and affordable housing, like my friend Brett pointed out, is something that makes that possible for the young community here, and I would love to move from renting to owning at some point in Laramie. So I urge you to vote yes, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this public hearing? Then,
One more.
oh, yes, sir. Thank you. If you can come on up, and that's okay.
My corporate logo.
Okay. If you can state your name for the record, thank you.
My name is Evan Grendel. I'm a West Laramie resident. I'm just here to speak. I was neutral at first, but now I'm more supportive of this measure. At least from my understanding, there's a lot more acreage on the West Laramie that could be developed for ecological purposes in order to mitigate floodplain water issues. It's not like you can't do another project out further in the county to protect the city as a whole from the Laramie River flooding. And secondarily, I guess, at least from my understanding, this is the first stage of any development. It's not like next year they're going to build something on that piece of land. And this is the first thing that we need to do in order to do that. So I guess how else do we start considering those options unless this designation is made? So that's why I guess I'm in support for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on this public hearing? Seeing none, I will move on to the next public hearing, amending multiple sections within Laramie Municipal Code. Is there any public comment? Yes, first, yes. No. If you can state your name for the record, please.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Colin Rosinski. I grew up here in Laramie. I've been a contractor here for 5 years. I recently completed a modest-sized house on Sheridan Street, 4-bed, 3.5 bath at 1,800 square feet. And it cost quite a bit more than I thought going into it, and there's just a lot of factors that go into building a house in the city of Laramie. So I really appreciate the work that the building department is doing right now with the contractors, working with them and not against them in recent months, asking us kind of what codes should be dropped that aren't really useful to our town without sacrificing safety or anything. So I appreciate that work that they're doing. And then I think that dropping these codes is a great start, and I hope there can be more productive conversations between the contractors and the building and the planning department to bring costs lower. And I see and I know a lot of contractors that are veering more towards building in the county, and there is a temptation to do that because it's a lot easier to build there. So if there was any way to find a middle ground here in Laramie to make building easier for the builders and thereby lowering the prices for the citizens of Laramie. But yeah, overall, I would urge you to vote yes on dropping these various codes, and I don't know how to make it happen, but a meeting with the planning, building, and contractors specifically for affordable housing would be useful in my opinion. So thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Glass.
Honorable Mayor Cumbie and members of council, I am all for many of the provisions in this ordinance which would relieve some of the restrictions, some of the absurd requirements in the latest building codes. However, this ordinance, the way it's written right now, both giveth and taketh away. There are a couple of items there that I think you should consider amending or perhaps striking because they do the opposite of what the previous speaker was talking about. There are two areas of particular concern that I've noticed here. The first one is proposed code R608.8.2, where it says before cutting a new concrete opening or modifying existing concrete opening or lintel, a licensed engineer must be consulted and stamp recommendations the licensed engineer provided to the building official as part of the building permit application. Now, there's been a lot of talk about egress windows, and in fact, I hope the council will act on changing the ordinance to make it easier to put in an egress window. But what this does is for virtually any modification to your foundation requires an expensive engineer to come in and do this when all it has to be is more than 2 feet wide, which makes sense for an egress window, and suddenly you've got to call an expensive engineer in, even when your experienced builder can see that there's no reason to do this, that you don't need the engineer's stamp. So I'd like to ask you to reconsider that. The second one I would like to ask you to reconsider has to do with something that was just added to the code, a new restriction, which is not in the original codes, which bans the use of flexible plumbing connections. I have here, and I can pass it around if you'd like, but I can show it to you, a device which we use a lot in rentals, which is called the Snappy Trap. And this is the solution to a lot of problems, especially in older houses, especially when you're renovating, when you're doing an emergency repair for a tenant. You need something quick that you can attach that is flexible, that you can fit in to replace a leaky trap or other bad plumbing under a sink. This is approved. It has a UPC approval stamp which says that it meets the plumbing codes, and it has smooth surfaces on the inside. It's only corrugated on the outside. But with this addition to the codes, even this item, which is a fantastic invention, would not be allowed. Even the regular corrugated even the regular corrugated fittings can be a godsend. If you have a leak in a pipe, you can cut it, you can cut out the bad section, you can expand the corrugated section, and yeah, it has some corrugations in it, but it's also wider than the original pipe. And in 15 minutes, you can fix a leak. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Thank
please
you very
consider
much.
that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on this public hearing item? Seeing none, we will move on to announcements. Mr. Jepp.
Mayor and City Council, I just wanted to provide a brief update for you guys on our current construction activity, on what is going on. First, the moisture received was certainly welcome and much needed. That said, it did cause some delays with our construction activity, but we're more than happy to welcome that along. As far as projects, first one for the 2026 rehab. Sorry. Fighting that. We did have some standing water on 22nd Street where the concrete replacement work was underway. Once those areas dried out, the contractor will resume that work. Next week, we do plan on closing Colorado Street, so the contractor can continue asphalt work, and concrete work will also begin on Sheridan Street. The 15th Street, let's see if I can find it. 15th Street, Phase 2 project from Grand to Ivinson is expected to start on May 18th, and this will continue over the next couple months. And also, if awarded tonight, sorry, I'm trying to find it along here. Our Ivinson project will also be starting at 8.5, the block there on May 18th as well, and we'll be shutting down 9th and Sheridan. We will be letting University know once we have these schedules confirmed as well. Thornburg Avenue, or the Thornburg Alleys, is encountering some challenges right now, as we anticipated it might, but we are continuing to move this project forward. I also wanted to let council know that WYDOT is conducting a corridor study on Snowy Range Road, and the city is assisting with this effort, and in the coming weeks we're going to be helping to get a word out regarding a public questionnaire that they have on there, so be looking for that on our social media, and we are door knocking that for them as well as we do our Snowy Range. Finally, Pierce Street PRV and Snowy Range Road Waterline project is planned to go out to bid starting this weekend, and overall, despite some weather delays, our construction activity is going well, and we'll continue to keep council and the public updated as these projects continue on. And as always, if you receive any questions, feel free to have them reach out to engineering, and we'll work to get those answers. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Director Wade or City Manager Fieser.
Honorable Mayor, we're going to change up the order for you, and we're actually going to add one before Director Wade comes up. Nancy Bartholomew's got one on Youth Council after I get done. But Councilor Bowling had brought it up. We didn't have a proclamation in honor of Professional Municipal Clerks Week, but we are so proud and honored to recognize Nancy Bartholomew, our city clerk, Ryan Schufelt, our deputy city clerk, and Reagan Lawrence, records clerk, part-time records clerk, that work in the clerk's office, and believe they deserve a large round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. Of course, it's a pleasure to serve our community and our staff. They're great to work with, and I'm going to try not to cry again. The other announcement that we had tonight was regarding, no, we don't need a photo. You already got a photo with the youth council. Yeah. But the Laramie Youth Council is currently accepting applications for the next program. So if you know any youth in our community in junior high and high school within Albany County, they're eligible to participate in this program. So we've had the question before in the past if homeschoolers can also participate, and they absolutely can. So that application's available on our website under boards and commissions. And if you have any questions, reach out to me and I'm happy to answer those for you. And thank you again.
Thank you. I will just say, before I turn it over to Director Wade, we couldn't do it without Nancy Bartholomew. And she's been a great guide for me and keeps me out of trouble. So, Director Wade.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. I think I have the most exciting item on our very packed agenda tonight, because I'm going to send out a note of much gratitude and appreciation to our community for passing our 2026 SPET tax. My goodness, all the work that's gone into this tax, from the committee of council members, the mayor, the vice mayor, council member Lockhart, who worked with staff on the project priority list, to the governing body of the county and the town of Rock River. This is just such a good example of the governing bodies and the community coming together to really invest in our future for the next 10-year period. And so the 2026 proposed SPET is now the 2026 enacted SPET. And as you'll remember from our goal-setting session together just a few weeks ago, we're not going to stop here, right? The work is just beginning, and we're going to get all kinds of information out in front of the council and the community so that they know exactly how we're going to manage this money and how we're going to invest it for the health and the future of our community. So thank you so much, Laramie, Albany County, and residents of the town of Rock River.
Thank you. Councilors, any disclosures and/or conflicts of interest? Seeing none, Vice Mayor, would you like to motion for approval of the consent agenda?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second. I have a motion from Richardson, second from Vigil. City Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Aye.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Next, item 11A, Councilor Newman. No? Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry about that. So item 11A is the Wyoming Association of Municipalities 2026 Summer Convention Voting Delegates. And City Clerk, would you like to introduce this?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd be happy to. So this year, as you know, we're hosting the WAM, Wyoming Association of Municipalities Summer Conference. With their summer conference, they do have a business meeting, and they ask each municipality to elect a voting delegate and an alternate voting delegate. So we've received some responses from councilors that are attending. So at this time, Mayor, it would be appropriate if we took nominations for who would like to serve as that delegate.
Okay, and just for your information, the WAM Summer Convention Business Meeting will be held on Thursday, June the 4th, at the UW Conference Center. And the conference is being held June 3rd through the 5th. We will need a nomination for an official voting delegate. You can nominate another or yourself. And then we need a nomination for an official alternate voting delegate. The floor is open for nominations. Councilor Newman.
Nominate Councilor Bowling.
Councilor Bowling, do you accept?
I accept.
And is that for the official voting delegate? Okay. Further nominations? Okay. Do I have a nomination for alternate voting delegate? Councilor Lockhart.
I nominate Councilor Shumway.
Councilor Shumway, do you accept?
I do, and I'll be more than happy to work with Councilor Bowling because I've done this many times.
Very good. Are there any other nominations? Then we have,
I was just going to make a motion.
You can go ahead and make the motion and fill the names in with the motion. Thank you.
I move that the Laramie City Council appoint Councilor Bowling as the official voting delegate and Councilor Shumway as the official alternate voting delegate for the 2026 WHAM Summer Convention business meeting.
Second.
I have a motion from Newman, second from Richardson. Is there any discussion? Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Back to council, any final? City Clerk, if you can call the roll. Excuse me, Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say, if this passes, thanks for representing City Council and this community, Councilor Bowling and Councilor Shumway. That was it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you both for your willingness to serve. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Newman.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill. Aye. O'Doherty.
Yes.
Bowling.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Next, item 11B, Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Laramie City Council approve the award of bid and contract with Western Municipal Construction for the Ivinson Infrastructure Upgrades Phase 2 project in the amount of $10,879,790 with a contingency of $1,087,979 and to approve Resolution 2026-29, amending appropriations for the fiscal year 2026 budget of the City of Laramie, Wyoming, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion from Lockhart, second from Newman. Mr. Jebb, good evening.
Your old Mayor and members of council, I'm excited to bring this project before council tonight. This one has actually been on the city's radar for some time now. I have recollection of this project back from 2009. So it's very exciting to actually bring it forward for construction tonight and hopefully get this awarded. This project will reconstruct Ivinson Avenue from 9th to 15th Street with a concrete road section. It also is going to include improvements to the side streets between Grand and Ivinson. We won't be touching where UW did place concrete previously on those side streets there. And then we'll also be doing work in the adjacent alleys and replacing water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer, along with some concrete replacement where it's needed and ADA improvements. This project does support council's goal to maintain and improve municipal infrastructure, and staff does recommend approval, and I can answer any questions you have on this project.
Thank you, Mr. Jebb. Councilors, questions? Councilor O'Doherty.
Mr. Jebb, I was recently crossing Ivinson on 13th, and the trees, boy, they've really wreaked havoc with that sidewalk. What happens there? Like when the sidewalk is about, this much above this much being a foot above the street. How does that get handled?
Yeah, Your Honorable Mayor, through you, the sidewalks in ADA are a little challenging on there. There's some sections that already actually have stairs in those areas. So the consultants work to kind of work those grades the best that we can. When we do hit trees like that, just as a general overview, we try to, usually it's caused by roots. We try to save the trees if we can. Sometimes it's not. We usually bring in an arborist to assess that situation to see if it is salvageable. Sometimes removing those large roots does damage and could cause the tree to blow over. However, we are trying to save as many trees as we can. We kind of just have to encounter those when we take them, but usually try to get that concrete leveled out and fix it where those problems are.
Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Director Japp. I guess I really like this project, and it's awesome to see it finally coming before council. Just to echo some previous comments from members of the Traffic Safety Commission about bike lanes and painting, and I know that's a little down the line on projects like this, but I appreciate the forward thinking and the cheap cost it is to paint while we're doing projects like this. So just echoing, I think, the support that we have for these projects and making sure that we can make them as usable for everybody. Thanks.
Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Japp. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. Any final comments? City Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Lockhart.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 11C, Councilor Vigil.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Laramie City Council approve amendment number 7 to the Professional Engineering Services Agreement with Tri-Hydro Corporation for construction management and contract administration services associated with the Ivinson Infrastructure Upgrades Phase 2 project in the amount of $928,284 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion from Vigil, second from Richardson. Mr. Japp.
My Mayor, members, and council, this item is actually related to the previous item that was just approved for Ivinson. Tri-Hydro completed the design for Ivinson, has been involved in this project since it was a conceptual design. They also did the construction management for Phase 1 that we did last year on Ivinson. Because of their familiarity with this project, staff requested a scope and a fee proposal for the Phase 2. These services will support the city during construction, including construction administration, construction observation, coordination, and project documentation. With that, I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Japp. Councilors, questions? Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. More of a comment if that's allowed.
I'll allow it.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Japp, as briefly as you want to go, but could you just explain maybe to council members of the public why we kind of use, a construction manager and why we don't have maybe the capacity in-house, or, if someone sees $900,000, kind of what that provides? And you did a little bit of it, but just briefly for members of the public, I think it's always good to hear, if you don't mind.
Your Honorable Mayor, through you. So the construction management and observation, basically the contractor's the consultant's going to have someone out there full-time whenever work is being done. Our staff does get out there during highlights or testing and stuff like that, or if issues kind of come up, but we don't have the capacity to be out there watching every phase of that project. They work with the contractor as it goes along, so all the concrete that's being placed in, all the pipe, they're watching every one of those sticks going in. Especially they're taking documentation of that work going on. They're conducting pictures. They're working when they're doing any of the testing, especially compaction, making sure that compaction's being done correctly. So there's a lot, it's a full-time job. If issues come up, they're the design engineer, so they work with city staff to help solve those problems. Being the design engineer, they have an insight and can help solve problems much quicker in with having that built into their CAD and the actual design of the system. And then finally, since we are doing water and sewer, and then really any project, we do as-builts. So an engineer has to have certified as-built. So there's a certain level of documentation that engineers like to see to be able to stamp those as-built. So that's also part of this, is they're documenting that so that we can get certified as-built at the end of the project as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Further questions? Thank you, Mr. Japp. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council. Council, any final comments? I just want to say, as Mr. Japp pointed out, this has been a project in the planning for a very long time. And it certainly is kind of a Swiss cheese road right now when you go down it. So it's really going to make a difference. And I appreciate the attention that's also going to stormwater design, because that is an area that when we get those summer downpours, it does flood in that area. So this is going to help that particular process. Thank you. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Vigil.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Aye.
Lockhart.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 11D, Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Laramie City Council approve a professional services agreement with Tri-Hydro Corporation for the Laramie CMCA Task Order 2026 in the amount of $323,950 with a contingency of $30,398, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign. And I would also ask that somebody break down the acronym of CMCA for the public, please.
Second.
I have a motion by Richardson, second by Vigil. Mr. Japp.
All right, Honorable Mayor, members of council. To begin, CMCA is an acronym we use quite often. It's the Construction Management, Construction Administration. It's what we were talking about with that Tri-Hydro project that was just awarded previously for the Ivinson. For these projects, we actually are looking at awarding the agreement again with Tri-Hydro. We went out for RFQ for this, and they were the selected consultant. And this agreement will be for the construction management and construction administration for several projects. Coming forward tonight, we have 2 that is planned, and then I'll talk a little bit later about some others that we'll be bringing back probably with amendments to add to this contract was kind of the plan, and we'll add those in once we have better costs and we get those projects out to bid. So the first one that's actually already underway is our 2026 street rehab. I have it pulled up here. As you can see, there's quite a few. We've been trying to work to get this underway so that we can get the assistance from it. This has been taking quite a bit of staff time, and we're looking forward to having some help with this project to be out there and help with those problems that are coming on. I was talking to our inspector, and I think he was joking, but it seems like we're almost getting a call every 10 minutes to try to work through some of the issues as these projects have been going on and figuring out the concrete. The next project, as I was mentioning earlier tonight as well, is 15th Street. So this project will be reconstructing the entire road. This is full reconstruction, so getting down to the base, fixing the sidewalk and curb and gutter where it's needed, and ADA as well. So with this, Tri-Hydro is going to be out and doing the full-time inspection out here, working with city staff, documenting these projects as they go along. Usually we are taking this with the design engineer. This is a little bit something different we're doing this year, because these projects that we talked about were designed in-house by city staff. Using a typical design cost of about 10%, that's kind of roughly how much it costs of the construction cost of it. These projects estimated saving the city of $825,000 by doing it in-house design. And these are just the first 2 projects that we're looking at bringing forward. It also allowed us to move these projects forward. We didn't have to go out for a full RFQ. It's not saying our consultants are slow necessarily, but there's a lot of steps we have to do. And to try to meet the timelines that we had for these projects, we decided to do them in-house. They weren't that complicated and everything. So we also saved quite a bit of time. With that, though, as we were talking about with staff time and everything else, we unfortunately just don't have the staff to go out and sit on projects all day while completing a lot of our other activities. So what we did is we went out for an RFQ to get a consultant to assist with these projects and others kind of coming down the road this summer. And so these are the first two projects. They will be doing that construction management, construction administration, documenting, showing that, helping staff with inspections kind of as problems kind of come up with that. Let's see. And then we do anticipate some future projects for this one. Snowy Range water line replacement, as I said, was going out to bid. So that one is actually going to be a pretty heavy lift for that construction management and construction administration. So we will need that assistance with that one. Custer Street sewer rehab, that was designed by a consultant, but we added it to this project. It's a pretty small one, and since they're already going to be doing some work for us. And then also 4th Street reconstruction, kind of right outside here, will also be partly one that we're actually finalizing in-house design for that as well, and getting that ready to bid here in the coming months. So that's kind of our plan with these. It helps us to move these projects forward efficiently and help with that work in the field where we just don't have the staff capacity to do that at this time. So if you have any questions, I can answer them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Jep. Questions, councilors? Councilor O'Doherty?
Since I love this story map so much, and I think it's very helpful for the public to see this, would you remind us the easiest way to get to that page?
Yes, I can't remember the exact link right now, but if you go to the City of Laramie's website under engineering, and it's the tab on the far left, it's the first tab on that location. Nancy's helping out to bring that up.
I think I got one before you.
Okay, it's just a follow-up there.
It's a follow-up? Okay. Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilor Dor. If you simply just go to the landing page and type in construction projects, it's the very first thing that will come up.
Yeah, and Madam Mayor, through you, our city clerk helped me. It's construction story map after the City of Laramie website. Really easy to remember, except I couldn't.
Very good, thank you. Councilor Newman.
Thank you, Mayor. Does it make it easier when you use the same management company? Because it seems, to me, it seems like it would be easier. Is that kind of why some of these other guys lost the bid as well?
Your Honor, Mayor, through you. We had, with the RFQ, we had a criteria with that. Most of our consultants that we have are good, Tri-Hydro didn't design any of these projects specifically, but we do work with them. We also work with a lot of our consultants, but as they went through the RFQ process, staff just ranked them higher based on the proposal they brought forward. We could have worked with, honestly, any of probably the consultants that came in with that, but they were just ranked higher by the ranking of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. Thanks so much for this. And in thinking about just this, the project management, do you know offhand how many construction projects we have this summer going on? Because I think when I see this, I very much recognize the need to bring somebody on to help.
I think I have that from earlier presentation of how many we had.
I have it in like the 2 weeks ago presentation. I can probably find it, but I don't remember offhand.
Exactly. It's the number that's here. I want to say it's 19 or so on that we have going on. Let me see here.
Buckle up, Laramie.
Buckle up, great.
26 projects.
Oh my gosh.
That we have planned for construction this summer is what we have anticipated at this time.
Thank you.
Councilor O'Doherty.
That stretch of 15th between the cul-de-sac and Grand, that doesn't, you said you're going down to the base, but it doesn't have water and sewer under it because that's over somewhere else, right?
Yeah, Your Honorable Mayor and Council, through you. So actually, that does have utilities through it, but we actually worked with the University of Wyoming when they were doing their project up above that, and actually have already replaced all the utilities in there in previous years. So we're good with all the utilities going through there. And that's actually connected all the way to Grand, is we tied in when we get from the Grand Avenue project we did a few years back, and then it is tied in at Ivinson there too.
Further questions? Thank you, Mr. Jep. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council. Any final comments? Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I listened to the presentation from our city engineer, Mr. Jep, I did just a quick calculation, and I think we've saved, by doing in-house projects, over $1 million in these projects, which I think we can all appreciate because of the savings that it brings to the city.
Thank you. Any further comment? All right, City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Shumway.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 11E, Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the City Council approve Resolution 2026-33, amending the appropriations for fiscal year 2025-2026 biennial budget in the amount of $244,305 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion from Freed, second from O'Doherty. Good evening, Director.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So I'm here tonight with a variety of appropriation requests for amendment in several different areas. So if you would indulge me, I'll go through each one of those and explain, and then have questions at the end for all of those. So starting at the cemetery, we had some roof damage to our shop at the cemetery, and it is being covered by our insurance company, but we both need to appropriate that money that's coming in, as well as there's about a $3,500 shortfall between what's reimbursed or given back to us and the amount that the repairs are estimated at. So that one is fairly straightforward. This is actually a warranty issue with the roof. It has been damaged earlier than what was expected, so our insurance is providing a full replacement of that roof. Next, within facilities, we had been planning with this budget year a improvement project at Undine Park for some valve replacements at our spray ground. Currently, it is a very manual process, and to turn on and off where the water goes, either being recycled back or recirculated back into the system or going to stormwater, we have to go down into a pit that's in the ground and requires opening up a very heavy door and getting down into a fairly tight enclosed container. In the past, when we had facility staff working 7 days a week, they would actually perform that task, opening up and closing that spray park every day. Since we changed that, and since we are trying to empower our aquatic staff to be a bit more self-sufficient on the operation of our aquatic facilities, which the spray ground is included, that actually creates a pretty good safety hazard. We don't necessarily have all of the staff that even have the ability to lift up that heavy plate or get down into that pit. So we had planned on spending $15,000 to get these automated valves that can be just actuated within the building. Unfortunately, because of other repair costs, that we had to make this year. We don't have that, and so we're requesting that $15,000 as an amendment so that we can get that done prior to opening up this season versus waiting until July and then really into August or September. So that is that request there. At the Ice and Event Center, we actually had two different issues. We continued to have some chiller repairs to our ice system. This is separate from the chiller replacement. These were some sensors and capacitors that needed to be replaced. But then in addition to that, we were getting some leaks from a fire suppression pipe. And after, I believe it was the third or fourth time fixing these pinhole leaks, we said, maybe we should look at the pipe and figure out why it's happening. And the entire 18-foot length of this pipe needs to be replaced, or else we're just going to continue to have those problems. And altogether, that's about a $33,000 set of repairs that were unexpected. Next, we have in recreation, we had a couple of retirements that happened, both Cynthia Stoffers and Jody Guerin when she left to go down to New Adventures. And so there were some unexpected retirement pay or leave payouts with that, as well as some other allocations for staffing that we had made as part of our recreation center adjustments that we had made, which as we're coming into our last couple of months of the fiscal year, we anticipate a shortfall in the recreation division. And so our $50,000 amendment request is to cover that anticipated shortfall. And then finally, the Recreation Center Fund, again, as we're looking into our final couple of months of fiscal year operations, and with a new recreation manager taking a fresh eye at our budget for the operations, we had, and knowing, if you recall, we made some fairly significant operational changes, both separating the facilities division, changing the way that we're cleaning and staffing the building. Again, we just anticipate some shortfalls that we want to make sure are covered by this amendment. In addition to the staffing request, we also had some additional things, like, if you remember, we had to shut down the pool a few times for glass in the water, which kind of destroyed our chemicals budget. As part of our increased cleaning to basically tend the gap in between hiring staff and getting that figured out, we had contracted out some janitorial services, which again was not budgeted for in this last supplemental budget or obviously in the original biennial budget. And then finally, also during our recent windstorms, we had two sets of damage. We had a major section of the wall on the exterior of the building had all of the siding blown off, and that had to be repaired. And then in the second windstorm, we had a shroud up on one of our rooftop units blow off. And again, those are being covered by our insurance claim, but again, we need to appropriate that amount, and there's a shortfall anticipated with that as well. I do want to say that with the Recreation Center Fund, we recognized too late for this amendment that there were some additional staffing adjustments due to, again, payouts and retirement, but that'll be brought forward with the quarterly budget amendment through finance. I'm not quite sure if that's at the next meeting or sometime before the end of the fiscal year. So you'll see me again asking for more, and it's related to that as well. So that is the bulk of all of the amendments. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Bork. Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. Thanks, Director Bork. I am curious, as we're seeing, I mean, recreation is the big department, and there are a lot of things happening, so keeping that in mind, but how do we, or do we as a city, kind of inventory things and do checks to make sure, boy, we're noticing that siding is loose, and so can we, you know, kind of be a little more proactive to try to fix it earlier so we're not spending more later? Or was this just one of those things that when it came through and it came off? I guess my question is, what sort of process do we have to try to make sure we are inventorying and getting ahead of things?
Honorable Mayor, through you to the Vice Mayor, we did not anticipate any of that damage. In fact, we had just a couple of months prior in the fall gone through and done good exterior checks of doors, door seals, siding, things like that. What we discovered is this portion, at least of the siding, had been screwed into really just the particle board that was kind of the backing, and we believe that just really over time, I mean, this is the first time that it's come loose in the building's 20 years, just came loose, and it was kind of a cascading catastrophe. One little piece came off, and then of course the wind, that horrible strong first windstorm that we had just kind of got its fingers up underneath and ripped off an entire walls section of siding. We have replaced it, and we made sure that we were putting those, or the contractor that was doing the repair was putting the screws into the correct locations to give it a lot more stability.
Good question. Further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Director.
Thank you, Mayor.
Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council. Any final comments? I just want to say thank you, Director Bork. I appreciate kind of the ongoing proactive approach that you're having toward maintenance and upkeep. And we do have a facility that is 20 years old, and it needs to be done. And it might hurt a little bit, but as the Vice Mayor said, it's going to save us later on. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 11F, Councilor O'Doherty.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2121, amending multiple sections within Laramie Municipal Code, Chapter 15, for the purposes of updating, amending, adding, and deleting sections of the ICC 2024 code within the city code, and as recommended by the Planning Commission on second reading in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
I have a motion from O'Doherty, second by Richardson. Good evening, Director Tini.
Mayor, Council, good evening. Tonight you get me instead of Lucas. Lucas happened to be out of town for this reading, but he'll be back for third reading. And tonight, though, I'm just going to very briefly mention, so we did go through during your first reading kind of a series of all the different changes that were being proposed. During that meeting, we had a few public comments, and then we've also had a few public comments tonight. During our first reading, we had no major questions and no recommended changes, and so I'm going to keep it short and sweet for you all, as that this second reading is the same that you saw during first reading. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, just recommend this is for approval as recommended by Planning Commission.
Thank you, Director. Councilors, questions? Councilor Freed.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Director Tini. And I know Mr. Witt isn't here, and he might have a different answer to this, but just curious to know, we've heard some of the public comments in the last few meetings about one part of this, and just curious if you would like to expand on it, but just some of these plumbing housings in that section, moving to smooth versus corrugated, and maybe the safety benefits or inspecting benefits, or just the purpose of municipalities moving towards smooth versus corrugated kind of plumbing attachments. And I know that might be Mr. Witt's kind of bread and butter, and he's not here, but if you wanted to take a stab.
Mayor, Councilmember Freed. So yeah, this section really, so what we're doing is we're adding this into the municipal code. This section exists within the building code currently. We run into this pretty regularly where someone installs the corrugated one. This helps us avoid that by having it in our code as well. It's a place that's easily accessible by anybody that's looking at our municipal code. If, as it says in that section though, if the inside is smooth, then it's okay. It can stretch and it can be bendy. It just has to be smooth on the inside, as it says in the code. And so it's just one of those things. It's where we get clogs. We have, and that's why that's provisions in there. And we included some of these things that are in this section so that they land in our municipal code, not just in the building code, which not always is looked at by everyone that does a project. And so that's kind of why we pulled that one out there. It's a common thing we run into, and we're hoping it provides clarity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Richardson.
Sorry, this would probably be more on the discussion time, so I'll wait a second.
Further questions? Thank you, Director. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? And do you have something new? Okay. Mr. Glass, if you can state your name for the record.
Yes, Brett Glass, Honorable Mayor and members of council. I've ran out of time, so I just want to continue where I left off. Maybe this is badly worded, but the way it's currently written, this new language in P2701.1 would potentially prohibit any plumbing fitting that is flexible, not just one that's corrugated. So at the very least, you should rewrite it, if not striking it. We use a particular kind of faucet, which is made by Delta Corporation. It costs a lot, has a ceramic valve. It's called the Diamond Shield faucet, and it has permanent PEX lines which go directly to the valve without your having to put in an intermediate fitting, so that there's one less opportunity for a leak. Those would be prohibited by this because you couldn't have the flexible plumbing. You couldn't have the flexible plumbing line built into the fixture. And again, as I was beginning to say, and when I reached the end of my time, the corrugated fittings are a godsend when you need to restore a drain pipe to a tenant so that they can use their sink. They're not the ideal thing. I don't think anyone uses them if they're building from scratch. But I've got to say, when you either have a very tight spot or you have something that you've got to patch, those are just a godsend, and they get things working. And we don't want to we don't want to inconvenience people or make more trouble for tenants or make their apartments uninhabitable or violate the habitability standards that we have in our own ordinances. So again, what I'd like to ask is that you consider striking the modifications to two sections, P2701.1 and R608.8.2, which is the one where anytime you modify a lintel or modify a foundation, you always need to have an engineer's stamp. I think that those would help housing affordability. I think they would ease repairs. I think they'd be a positive thing to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. Any further public comment? Good evening, Mr. Enzi.
It's fine. I can bend over. It's all good. Mayor Cumby, members of the council, thanks for having me. I just want to commend the members of the planning and building department staff in really working through with the contractors where these codes are. Obviously, they're not, anytime we do a grip of them, as Mr. Glass said, there's going to be some things that, there's going to be debate on how we could do it better. One of the great things about how our process here in Laramie works is you can always go in and meet with the team in building codes, and you can always, as a private citizen or a business, propose a new change. And it's a very called out process. It's not hard to do. You pay a very nominal fee. And so we can always change them, and I would encourage that as we meet, as the council dictates to the building department and the planning department to, sort out these issues, that we take these big blocks and do it. And then I would encourage anybody that sees a change to come to us, and we would help initiate, kind of those more finite changes. I think it's important as a community and for our businesses and our contractors to always be on that edge of how do we do things better? How do we make these big changes in one thing, and then we can come back and look at the smaller things if necessary. If you don't change it now, we can look at it at another time. With that, I'd stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Enzi. Further public comment? Mr. Henderson.
My name is Eric Henderson, and I would like to thank you for this opportunity to clarify. I have a 1913 home, and I think that age in our community of homes is a common thread a lot of places. I think the adaptability that was specified by Citizen Glass in earlier testimony is very important. I also respect that we want to do things better, but better doesn't always mean not accommodating adaptive needs and being flexible to that without drawing added unnecessary expense at the public's expense, primarily to gain the expertise that might be required by a code change. I would really just sympathize with that. Regarding the last testimony that was made regarding processes, there are so many things there. I don't believe that secrecy is the right word, but we do not have public awareness of many aspects to our community and processes, and I would like to support anything that helps to support the prevention of secrecy perceptions and upholds the primary goal of transparency, which was foundational in you guys' first month of council. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Henderson. Further public comment on this agenda item? Yes, sir.
Hi, Evan Grendel. I'm actually currently in the process of a unfortunately months-long DIY kitchen renovation, and trying to keep up on the codes, doing my own work. I've actually come across that issue of the flexible hosing fixtures, and I guess I would just ask that there might be some sort of consideration for temporary use of those items, because like in the case of, I need to do dishes, but I can't call a plumber, or I can't afford a plumber this week or this month, or I'm doing a renovation and I need some sort of stopgap measure for a week or two while I get the countertops in. It'd be nice to have some more formal designation for that, instead of kind of living in this gray area of, do I really want to be completely in the legal, eyes of the law and be doing my dishes in my tub? Or can I maybe just attach one of these flexible hoses for a little bit and be doing my dishes kind of normally? But thanks.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Director Tini, I'm curious about your thoughts about using such hosing as a temporary, allowing for that versus not at all.
Mayor, council, if you're in the midst of a construction project, or you can connect something up so you can run your sink, it's just when you do that final inspection and you close out your project, that's when that would apply. So
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Oops. Thank you for that clarification. So then my understanding is you would be allowed to use it temporarily, like there's a leak, you want your tenant to be able to have water, you fix it, but then you come in and you do the permanent fix on it. Okay. Thank you. Councilor O'Doherty.
I just want to say I can't conceive of a situation where the building enforcement folks are going to come to somebody's house on a Saturday night because they found out somebody put a flexible pipe in. And to me, the way I read this is fixtures, faucets, and fixture fittings shall not be made of corrugated design. And it talks about that shall not have concealed fouling surfaces. So I think it's pretty clear, but maybe we could clarify the smooth inside business in the next reading. And I want to say about egress windows, my favorite topic is that if we're putting people in basements, if you're cutting bigger holes in a structure, in a foundation, it's not out of the question, in my opinion, to get an engineer. And they're not going to charge a lot for saying, yeah, this looks sound and put this kind of structure on there. I just think it putting people in basement apartments without an egress window is irresponsible, and to ask that they at least be sound structure because the whole house is resting on that foundation is not unreasonable. So I support this. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. In looking at the P2701.1, I feel like it can be clarified a little bit more because I don't think it is the most clear. It doesn't specifically say, the inside must not be corrugated. So I think there can be work done on that. I would like to not do that tonight. I would like to bring that on third reading and maybe look at that. I also think sometimes we assume that people know that that you can't use these things temporarily. So even adding the addition of permanent plumbing fixtures, faucets, fixture settings, a simple change to that so that it calls that out a little bit more so that we know that if it's a temporary thing that it's not there. And I think those are relatively easy fixes. It doesn't change the code. The idea is still there, but we can clean it up to make it more clarified for everyone.
Mayor, mine's a follow-up to that one.
Okay. Councilor Newman.
I also won't do this tonight, but I want to get with city staff. There are some faucets that the spray hose actually would not pass with this the way it's written, and I don't know why faucets would be part of this. Anyways, just kind of if we just kept it fixtures and the plumbing, but there are some. Mine in my house would not pass with the spray. The big commercial ones that have the spring or the mini ones that won't actually pass. So we kind of need to look at that as well.
Thank you. Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. And I guess to address a couple of these comments about this, I think I own a house, 1929, and had a engineer come and provide approval for our cinder block wall that could be crumbling in or not, and it was about $200, which isn't nothing, but also to understand what you need to do and have an engineered stamp. If those prices are a lot more than that, I think maybe we should consider something else. But to Councilor Doherty's point, I think if we're talking about foundations of houses, we're talking about safety, and if it's not $10,000 to get that engineering stamp, I think this is very reasonable. And my second comment would be, let's bring something back on third reading that might solve some of these issues specifically for the plumbing sections, but also these corrugated pipes from the limited plumbing that I've done. I mean, they're more brittle and they're plastic and they're not copper or they're not PEX, and so the risk, they might be cheaper up front, but really they're susceptible to breaking and damaging and leaking, and so what we're trying to do with the code, I imagine, and what I'm seeing here and what we've asked city staff to do is make things that are going to be long-term, not taking shortcuts that actually protect the integrity of houses or renters or landlords or whoever's doing these repairs, to do it done right one time instead of, that getting knocked by something under there and that accordion can break and now you have another leak just by someone putting something under there. A lot easier than copper. So those are just my 2 cents, but appreciate all the work that our planning department has taken in from contractor and developer feedback on this and bringing this to us. Thanks.
Thank you. Further comments? Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Your Honor. So that we don't scare homeowners, I think we need to point out that no one is going to come from the city to inspect your repair of a faucet in your home. Now, if you're a landlord, if you have apartments and things like that, it's a different story. But homeowners can do their own home repairs without the fear of having the city knocking on their door saying we need to inspect your new flexible hose on your spray faucet that goes into your sink.
Thank you. Any further comment? City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Feehill.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Next, item 11G, Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Laramie City Council approve Resolution 2026-34, a resolution of the City Council recommending approval of the West Side Urban Renewal Plan and Project for the City of Laramie, Wyoming, pursuant to Wyoming State Statute Section 15-9-110, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion by Bowling, second by Richardson. Director Taney.
Mayor and council, good evening. The item tonight is a resolution regarding the West Side Urban Renewal Plan and Project. And so, council, you have had an opportunity to hear about this project a couple times up till now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through just a brief presentation just on some of the main topics and to provide just an overview on the process of kind of where we're at and where we're going to be going with this plan and project. And so, already thank you for your time. Yes, no, I'm already done. No. All right, thank you, Nancy. So before I kick off, we do have Mark Christensen. He is the consultant with AVI who prepared the plan and project and has been working with the city on preparing this specific plan and project. Also helped with our 4th Street plan and project that the city council adopted a while back. And so he'll be available later. I'll kind of go through the presentation. I know Todd may have a few things to say about the project as well. But really to kick off, I think we're all familiar with the is it going to let me go? Oh, there we go. Wrong button. But what I wanted to do is kind of go through how we got to where we're at right now. So we did, do some public engagement before we even initiated the plan and project. We had to designate the site as blighted. We had established project boundaries. We created and made sure that it followed Wyoming state statute and is permitted to be considered for TIF under the Urban Renewal Authority. And then we'll kind of talk a little bit about some of the next steps and kind of where we're at. What I always like to say is this process, this plan and project process, is kind of the second of three large steps. You as a council established the city as a whole as potentially blighted. We have significant issues across the whole city, and through that process, the Urban Renewal Authority was established. It established the opportunity for us to potentially apply TIF funding for any property within the city. This property including. And so with that, this is the second plan and project that the city council has considered. Like I mentioned, 4th Street was the first plan and project which you did adopt. We did a similar process here. We did some public engagement opportunities where we did mailings, we had signs, we did some notices in the newspaper, and allowed for both a morning and afternoon session for people to come in and kind of learn about what the potential plan and project may be, tried to get an understanding of some of the public input that might come from it. And through that process, we heard some concerns about environmental protection and flooding, equitable investment in investing neighborhoods, affordable housing, green space, walkability, and public amenities. Concerns about TIF and how the urban renewal tool could be used in this context, and desire for transparency in the planning process. And so through that process, we did work and put together the actual plan and project. When we're putting together the plan and project, we do have to conform with the requirements of Wyoming state statute. And when you read through this section, one of the things it talks about is deficient or inadequate street layout, as well as layout in relation to the size, adequacy, accessibility, or usefulness of the lot itself. This lot, we have a lot that is fairly unique. It's a large lot. It's separated by the Laramie River on the west side. It has street in connectivity, so non-connectivity on the east side of the site. There's a little bit of access off of Garfield Street to the south, and then on the north side it's also kind of pinched off by the Snowy Range Road. In this section too, it does talk about some other things, so potential endangerments of life and safety. We've noted and we've heard, that this area is near the Laramie River. So we do know that over on the west side too, that we've had some stormwater management issues that we would like to address. And so through all of that, we felt that this property, and we do believe that this property meets those requirements. And so the other thing is that this has to be in conformance with a few things like the comprehensive plan, which it is, as well as just some of the other conditions that show that this site is blighted per the state statute. Now, just remember, right, it's not necessarily the term blight as we might just have in our heads, that it's something that there's like something run down or that there's something broken there, but it's the definition actually of what's in state statute. It's those things like inadequate roads or other issues that I noted on the previous slide. So when we start to get into a little bit more detail, these are kind of some of the major criterion that we have to look at. And so when we're looking at those things, we need to see about, is there a feasible method, or do we need to relocate anyone? So in this case, this property has no people. There's no one living there. This is a really common language that's found in statutes and is in this type of URA language in order to ensure that we're not displacing people with improvements or potential TIF projects, which we are not here. The urban renewal plan conforms to the general plan of the municipality as a whole. I'm going to say that again, municipality as a whole and to the general plan. There's all sorts of spots throughout the plan that support this site being located and within a URA, as well as potentially applying for TIF funding. We provided the map here, and I think you kind of saw this maybe the last time we were talking about this property. It's identified as a spot, the red area, as a place where we want to see growth occurring. This is just one piece of the comprehensive plan showing growth, infill development, improvement of infrastructure like water, sewer, streets, stormwater. The urban renewal plan gives due consideration to the provisions of adequate parks and recreation facilities, as well as other neighborhood improvements. I think as we've mentioned, and as many of you know, this site is due north of Optimus Park, as well as adjacent to the Laramie River Greenbelt. Specifically on this site, there's not necessarily recreational opportunities, but we're providing a place where potential development may occur and will be in very close proximity to existing neighborhood facilities that can be used by whoever ends up going there or whatever ends up going there. Additionally, we have the Laramie River, which provides another asset for those people that may be located on this site in the future, as well as area residents. Finally, when we start to see potential development on this property, we will see improvements such as roads, water, sewer, and then I think as in the plan and project describes the desire to use some of this funding potentially for stormwater management, which is something that's noted not only just for this property as being of a concern, but the larger neighborhood in the west side. And then that the urban renewal plan affords maximum opportunity for consistency with the municipality's needs, and potentially will help with rehabilitation and redevelopment. As many of you know, this property has remained vacant pretty much in its entirety for its existence within Laramie. We, as a city, have actually done a lot of work related to this property. We, as a city, applied through the EPA for Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental assessments. DEQ was involved in those processes for evaluation of any potential environmental contamination. There was also another assessment done by the EPA, which provided planning funds and design for potential layouts and options to try to promote development on this property. Just because of the perceived environmental concerns, we believe that this property has probably remained undeveloped for many years, even till today. And so those were some of the reasons why we went through those efforts. And so this is just another one of those pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, in terms of allowing the potential property owner here to use options to try to get this property developed. So, as I mentioned, and as we kind of talked about, I think it was with the City Council over a month ago about the blight determination. There were factors that were determined when it comes to determining this site as being blighted. As I said, inadequate street layout, difficulty in the lot layout due to its size and accessibility, as well as just general unsafe conditions due to some of the floodplain issues and some of the accessibility issues, as well as the inability to have water and sewer in that area where it's at right now. Once again, this is just kind of the plan and project boundaries. We just point that out again, as that's found in the plan and project, which is included in your packet. Another thing, this is something similar to what was discussed during the blight determination, is, really in all realities, a good chunk of this property can't be developed. It's either within the actual floodway, or it's probably found within a portion of the floodplain that's really just not going to be logically built on. When you look at the site, you're looking at kind of around 26 acres that are probably most likely to be developed, and as part of that, conceptual design work that I mentioned that we did with the EPA and DEQ that Ayers Associates did for us. Right now, once again, this just sets us up for the opportunity for the developer and the property owner to apply for TIF funding. This doesn't establish any type of development, and regardless of the adoption of the plan and project potentially tonight through this resolution, doesn't preclude the site from being developed. In the future, the site could be developed with or without TIF funding, no matter the approval of the resolution or not. One of the most important things that comes out of the plan and project and lays out the planning for any future project on the site is really the things that you see here. So if the developer chooses to use any type of TIF funding, the third step will come into play, and that's the development agreement. That's an agreement that will come before the City Council, in which this City Council will get to determine where that funding potentially can be used. But the plan and project provides us the guidelines in which that funding potentially may be used. So when we're looking here, potentially construction of street, curb, gutter, sidewalks in rights of ways or within subject adjacent properties. Additions of adequate street and utility connections. Those would logically be probably coming from the east side there in the existing neighborhood. Relocating any public or private utilities. Often there may be, gas lines or things like that that go across the site that might need to be moved in order to accommodate a future development. Construction of other improvements, including stormwater drainage improvements and detention facilities. This kind of really leans into probably one of the larger concerns that we've heard about how we can potentially mitigate flooding, but not only flooding on this property, but maybe within the adjacent neighborhood. will allow us to remediate any type of environmental contamination, demolish structures, or do anything that's in disrepair on the site, as well as under the Wyoming state statute here in this constitution, facilitate any type of other economic development or site beautification, including park improvements. And so really this plan and project provides the kind of framework and the guardrails in terms of where potential funding can be used. So with that, like I mentioned, this is kind of step 2 of the 3-step process. At some point in the future, if this resolution is approved, it would give the opportunity for the current property owner or future property owner to apply for TIF funding if they so choose. Up here, really that's kind of hidden under the box there is kind of the last step. It's all right, Nancy. But you know, where we've gone on this process is the Urban Renewal Authority has approved this plan and project. The City Council has determined blight for the site. Planning Commission has recommended approval of this plan and project, and now it's before you under this resolution. And so with that, I'd be happy to take any questions. Like I mentioned, we do have Mark Christensen online. I'd like to turn it over to him for a moment at least, and then take questions after that, because they may be for me, they may be for Mark. So, all right, thank you. Mark?
Thank you, Director.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, through you to members of the council. My name is Mark Christensen. I am the consultant at AVI that worked on this project for the city. So just wanted to reiterate what Director Taney had said. A lot of the work thus far has really been for the use of the TIF, tax increment financing funding, for this potential project. This plan and project is very in line with other plans and projects that we've seen throughout the state, notably Cheyenne and Douglas too. So really the crux of the issue is whether the site is eligible for tax increment financing, whether the use of the fundings is eligible to mitigate some of those urban renewal constraints and those sorts of things. So if this should move forward, the council would then likely see a tax increment financing development agreement come before the council as well. That would be a process that outlined a specific project, and in which the project would outline those eligible funding opportunities for the TIF for a specific project to mitigate some of those items that were identified in the blight study, such as the stormwater, the utilities, and the connectivity within the area. But again, just wanted to note that it really is about the tax increment financing and the mitigation of some of those urban renewal constraints within the area. And then again, that it is very consistent with urban renewal plans that we've seen throughout the state. And I'm also available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Christensen. Thank you, Director. Councilors, questions? Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that information, Director Taney. You know, we're talking about next steps. If this were to be adopted, then it would come back to us to determine where that tax increment financing should be used on the project, correct? And you had mentioned stormwater drainage. Can we be more specific when we make those requirements? I've been looking into just the types of drainage for areas like this, and the one that I've been reading up on most is this compensatory storage. And so I'm just curious, how specific can we get with it when we talk about we want these dollars to be used towards X?
So, Mayor, Council, through you, so the plan and project keeps it fairly general, so it can provide us some flexibility, and that's the development agreement is where those specifications come into play. Now, probably what will happen is you will probably have some sort of project come forward where there will be desires by the developer or the property owner for certain things, as well as for potentially the council. And I think what I would say is that's going to be the stage where you can start to specify those types of things within the plan and project. I mean, you may not spend any money on anything else other than stormwater if you so choose, really. I mean, now, does that meet the needs of the person who's requesting TIF? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, at this stage, that's why it gives you that option to use creative stormwater management practices if you want. So.
Follow up?
Okay, so, sorry, just to follow up. So that is the stage I was talking about. So you can get really specific when you get to that stage when working with the developer?
Yeah,
Thank
correct. We would anticipate, I mean, we're with a development agreement, it may even be down to the specificity of like 600 feet of water line at this location and this as shown in, plan set A or something. I mean, those are the types of things that will fall in the development agreement. So it's very specific of where those funds will go to. You want to be able to see that directly.
Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. And my question's maybe more for Mr. Christensen. Hey, Mark, good to see you, and thanks for being a part of this project. I watched the Planning Commission meeting last Monday, and heard some of the comments where folks were saying this plan and project they felt didn't have enough detail. My understanding is that it does meet state statute. Could you just maybe speak, and you kind of did, that this kind of plan and project at this stage is pretty similar to what's been happening across the state, or where we are, and maybe addressing that, if you wouldn't mind?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, to Councilmember Freed. So the way that we think about that, really we've worked with these urban renewal plans and projects over the past few years, is that they're really that enabling piece of it checks the box with the state statutes to meet the requirements of state statutes to enable further agreements for the development process. So essentially what the urban renewal plan and project does is it designates the public improvements that are eligible, and then it gets into the designation of the area to be eligible for TIF, and then it really sets the stage for the next part of the agreement to be the development agreement that allows for further indulgences into the specifics, as Mr. Taney said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Newman.
I don't ever watch the planning commission meetings before anything like this because I don't want to. I want to come in with like a blank slate. I saw it was approved. What was the vote?
4-2.
Thank you.
Councilor O'Doherty.
I was just wondering if Mr. Christensen could tell us what the word urban means in this setting. Isn't it just it's within a municipality of over 5,000 people?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, through you. The urban really comes from, it's the semiotics of the legislation at the time. It was pretty prevalent in the 1960s that urban renewal was kind of this like post-war use of the terminology to designate these different areas. It was copied from a lot of different states that enabled urban renewal statutes. So even a town like Douglas could use it. We used it in Douglas, and they have 5,000 residents. So it doesn't mean super urban scale development or anything like that.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Sorry, one more question. So also kind of following up with that, from my understanding and what I've looked into, statute also allows us to modify this plan at any time as we want to get more specific, or if we want to get more specific. Is that correct?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, through you. It does allow for modifications. Essentially, if it falls within that 25-year horizon when the plan is originally approved, then it's eligible for modification. So if a new development were to come forward and wanted to use TIF for something else that wasn't outlined in the plan, it could be modified. And you could also modify it to get more specific as well.
Thank you.
Councilor Shumway.
Thank you, Mayor. I have been listening to proposals for 20 years on the City Council, and they keep bringing up TIF, which is when there's economic growth and there's money available to put back into specific projects. I am unaware of us being very successful in any TIF projects And if we are, and if this is one that we think that we can recoup some money for things like stormwater runoff and things like that, and it's primarily housing, I just don't see where we're going to get TIF money to do these projects when we look at the need that the city has for probably $175 million in stormwater and flooding. I don't see where we're going to get a significant amount of money from TIF, or if we're getting any TIF money on projects that are going on within the city of Laramie currently. Maybe someone could explain to me where this money's going. I know it's a great idea, and it's used in economic development. I don't know that it's very successful in housing projects.
Thank you, City Manager.
Honorable Mayor, through you to Councilor Shumway, through Todd Fieser, City Manager. So the tax increment financing, we have not used TIF in the city since we've established the Urban Renewal Agency in 2022. We've had projects move forward, and there is a approved tax increment financing project on North 4th Street. But as of yet, we haven't had any development that's created the increased property tax. The way tax increment financing works is it is built off what development occurs and what the growth in property taxes over the point of equalization. And so say housing lands on here and it generates let's say five single-family residents that produce $3,000 a year in property tax. So that $15,000 per year across 20 years is available to offset the cost of the public improvements to make those 5 units occur. So it's what we do here is we're basically laying the ground that a developer may or may not choose to access tax increment financing for this project. That's their opportunity. But there is an opportunity that if there's a sizable development, let's say it's 50 homes. Now you've got $3,000 times 50 homes, which is $150,000 across potentially 20 years to develop. Is that $3 million? $3 million in investment into public improvements. It's all work on future income and development. So to say that it hasn't been used or hasn't been successful is probably true, but we do have projects that are in the wings, and these are slow grow projects. It takes time for them to accrue and to happen. I'll be happy to answer any further questions.
Thank you, City Manager. Further questions? I see none. Thank you. Now we'll go to public comment, and I'd like to start with anyone who did not speak previously. Is there anyone who, yes?
Mayor, we have Jamie Egolf that had registered ahead of time. She's online.
Okay, and don't we have Siobhan Kelly registered also? Who do we have on the list?
You are correct, Mayor.
Okay, so we'll start with Ms. Egolf.
Mayor, just to let you know, we also have Linda Devine online.
Excuse me? Oh, okay. Well, we'll do Ms. Egolf, then Ms. Kelly, since they signed up. Okay.
Hello, Mayor and councilors. Jamie Egolf here, I had written all of you a letter, so I wasn't even sure if I needed to testify tonight, but I'll just go over what I think is important, which is to not build either in or adjacent to a floodplain. I would really prefer to see this piece of land become a wilderness area. And so that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Egolf. Appreciated. Our next person who signed up, Siobhan Kelly. Good evening.
Honorable Mayor and council members,
And I would also like to address the young professionals. I was over 30 when I became a homeowner, and I paid a mortgage for 30 years and raised a son with my husband in my current home. This is very much that I understand the longing for a home and how impossible it can seem. This is about this location. You've seen the maps showing the property identified as FEMA Special Flood Hazard Zone. It's different from your yellow map. It's the flood hazard zone covers more than 50% of this site. You've seen the maps showing that the property and the west side lie within the elevated levees of Garfield Snowy Range and the Union Pacific Railroad. You've seen how all the floodway has to pass through the opening under the bridge at Snowy Range Road. Wyoming Region 3 Hazard Mitigation Plan of 2025 shows disaster declaration history in Laramie, citing floods in July 2011, July 2015, and September 2018. The National Weather Service cited the flood we experienced August 14, 2022. Laramie Municipal Code, which is floodplain management, and is in compliance with the Code of Federal Regulation 44, states, "It is the purpose of this ordinance to promote the public health, safety, general welfare, and to minimize public and private losses due to flood conditions in specific areas by provisions designed to protect human life and health and minimize expenditure of public money for costly flood control projects." Again, that's Municipal Code 1520. Laramie Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 7, Urban Growth, says the floodplain and other flood-prone areas in particular are hazardous due to the potential for the loss of life and the loss of damage of property. Government's responsibility for the public health and safety indicate that they should be protected. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Is there other public comment at this time? Yes. Ms. Chapman. Oh, Linda Devine would come next, and then Ms. Chapman, you would come next. Good evening, Ms. Devine.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for letting me talk to you. First of all, I want to say is this past weekend, I had the opportunity to spend Saturday with many of my West Side neighbors, and I really understand their desire to make sure that this area is preserved. I also understand the need for housing, and one of the things that I keep hearing tonight is that a developer may not even take TIF funding. And so y'all are probably tired of me saying this, but once again, I'm going to reiterate the importance of having that zoning overlay, because I think it's, I think that gives our community on the west side a voice to establish what can be developed, not only just height, but barriers, paths, even protecting the wildlife and the river that folks are concerned with. I think if the city would commit to implementing a zoning overlay, I think that's going to probably get the West Side community at least some hope that they will have a voice. I know that y'all have a difficult decision to make in this. I know you've been putting a lot of work and thought in it, and I certainly appreciate it. This is probably a crazy analysis, but hopefully I can do it in the next minute and a half. When I was about 19 or 20, my dad gave me a cane that he had when he was growing up, and it's probably the only thing left that I have of my dad, and I carry that with me from house to house to house. It's probably it is the only thing left that I have of him, and I can really understand these folks that are just wanting to preserve this way of life, but I think that we can do it in a way where the city is able to accomplish the goals of some affordable housing. So I would just urge you again to really consider committing to a zoning overlay, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Devine. Ms. Chapman.
Mayor and council members, my name is Wendy Chapman. I'm a longtime homeowner and taxpayer who has lived on the West Side for 27 years. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on this topic. All of the claims made in order to designate the 4G land as blighted are wild exaggerations. It requires a real stretch of the imagination to see this area as blighted. The public engagement aspect of this project should not be considered a success. The sign-in sheet only had about 52 people, many of whom were city staff, councilors, and URA members. The public engagement aspect should have included more people from the adjoining West Side neighborhood. Public outreach was insufficient. From where things stand at this point, a few questions come to mind. How is the city going to fund the storm sewer project, an already existing problem even before developing on a floodplain? If the 4G land is developed, and if that development has adverse effects on the historic West Side neighborhood, who should we call? Judging by previous flooding events in the neighborhood, it isn't unreasonable to expect that adding impermeable surfaces on top of a floodplain would increase the risk of flooding in the historic West Side neighborhood. There are limits to what can be engineered and how much water the river can hold. Any development at all on the 4G land would not be considered an improvement. Because you are voting again tonight, you have the opportunity to put your neighbors on the West Side first. You have the opportunity to prioritize the 4G land as a floodplain and a wildlife corridor. I respectfully ask you to vote no.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment from individuals who have not spoken? Anyone who has spoken, do you have anything new that you would like to add briefly? Mr. Henderson.
My name is Eric Henderson, and on April 5th, I sent all of you extensive concerns regarding tax incremental finance detriments for the West Side Historic District project. I appreciate, Micah, your points regarding gentrification concerns. I appreciate your validating those. However, to that I would say, please look closer at the depth of that section, all of you, that they sent this. Over the time of 150 years, earlier testimony indicated that there were unsafe conditions. Well, I'd take the unsafe conditions that exist from 150-year development before. I would risk facing the pollutants being disrupted and that affecting the waterway, that affecting our neighborhood, the West Side Historic District. I would also ask that you consider that city has failed the citizens to mitigate flooding, to provide the safeguards that we're assured that will happen in future meetings, future opportunities. We haven't seen that. We haven't witnessed that to a place where we're calm and we're peaceful at what's going ahead here. The failed historic value of our west side was evident at 260 North Pine, where unlike unsimilar area were developed, the area was similar, but the development, stark contrast, not adding to the historic value of the area. That, to me, is a danger of putting the proposed 84 developments, apartments in this undeveloped area, which is at no cost right now to the public. I asked for that 30-day statutory available pause to look into some of these more importantly. Infill and like and similar is critical to me. It prevents gentrification with the inequality and displacement. When you put property on an already $78,000 per acre space, you are going to affect people who have not had state retirement, city retirement, county retirement increases in 20 years. You're not working on affordability in this fashion, and to put home doors anywhere is not something that should happen in this space at public expense, given tax incremental financing. The corporate welfare is the other point that I would point to. I haven't spoke to it. Tax incremental financing funnels public money to well-connected developers.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Henderson.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who has not spoken? We are
I just have one sentence, if that matters.
What?
Am I correct? We can go till 10.
Yep, Mayor, through you. So our rules of procedure do say that we end at 9:30 unless you vote by 2/3 vote to extend to 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Can I?
Councilor Newman.
I just want clarification of that. I thought it was we couldn't bring new items after 9, but the meeting's hard stop, or after 9:30, but the meeting hard stopped at 10. That's the way the cover sheet.
I'll read you the exact language.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you give me one moment here.
Yeah, I misinterpreted it wrong, which is fine. Right. So we can go till 10 if I.
So we can go to 10 on this, but then.
Then everything else go, yeah.
Yeah, Mayor, I apologize. I didn't bring my pre-noted version with me today. Let me just pull it up here electronically.
It's on the.
I think it might be noted on the agenda. So, Ann, can you do it in 1 minute?
I can do it in one sentence,
Okay.
okay? Because it's been mentioned, and I feel compelled to point it out to your attention because you've gotten so much information. So I do want to point out that the West Side Historic District represents the second National Register nomination translated into Spanish in the entire United States. And I did point out that members of the Conservancy have stated clearly to me they access that section of the Greenbelt at least once, if not twice a week. They don't just walk on the optimist side. They like that part in front of the Territorial Park. And a lot of them have mentioned to me they wonder why the west side is so marginalized. And I'm sitting here thinking that my comments should be pushed aside because I should be really listening to the west side. So I ask you tonight to listen to those comments tonight from the west side. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Glass, can you do it in a minute?
Honorable Mayor, members of council, I can do it in a minute. Just one final thought, which is, as you consider an item such as this, you need to ask yourself the question in Latin, qui bono, who benefits? If you pass this, it will not make housing more affordable, because it will still be extremely difficult to build on the land. What will happen is you will enrich the current owners of the land. That's all you're going to do. I suggest that you keep your powder dry, that you reserve TIF if you're going to use it for situations where it really will produce affordable housing if that's your goal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comment? What?
Just if you, Mayor, if you wanted, I do have that exact language for you.
Please.
Okay. It is the intent of the City Council that no additional item will be introduced at the regular meeting or special meeting after the hour of 9:30 unless the City Council members present a vote to extend the meeting by suspending the rules by a 2/3 vote and continue the meeting until 10 o'clock p.m.
So then items can be introduced if we vote to do that. We're up until 10. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'll return to council for comments. Councilor Newman.
I have a question that I need clarified so then I know how to vote. 26 acres could be built on according to the presentation. If I bought the place tomorrow and submitted plans that followed all of the building codes, I can build on that, correct?
Honorable Mayor, through you to Councilor Newman, that is correct.
Other comments? Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor, and for the sake of everyone's time, I'll try to be brief. I almost want to address every comment. I've talked to a lot of folks in the audience who said there has been a public engagement outreach, that the West Side has felt not heard in this. And I'm sorry that people feel that way, and I think we're trying to bridge that gap. There's been a lot of processes here, but between public meetings, open houses, council meetings, commission meetings, coffees, phone calls, emails, I haven't heard a lot of new public comment that has swayed my perspective of what we're talking about today, which is, does this property qualify for tax increment financing, and does this plan and project meet the minimum criteria based on the URA and the state statute to qualify for tax increment financing? And that's what we're here to talk about today and to vote on. And this isn't our land. To Councilor Newman's perspective, someone could buy this right now, and point of order, we're talking. But I will say, I know this is a hard decision for folks, but there's a lot of people I've heard from on the West Side that don't want to come here and speak against some of the other members of the public. That this isn't a unanimous thing that people don't want. And I know sometimes it feels like that when there's the same eight or 10 people in here that have good ideas and good perspectives and good comment. And my thoughts on that are, I think I've heard the same, if not equal amount of representation from members of the West Side or other members in the community that also have a right to comment on these issues that would think otherwise. So I'll leave my comment at that.
Thank you. Other comments? Vice Mayor.
Just quickly, I appreciate those, your sentiments, Councilor Frieden, agree, and I will just go back to when this piece that we are looking at today, but when I'm thinking about this more broadly, it is about the larger community and what, when I'm making a decision, what do I think is best for the larger community? And that is where I'm coming from today. Just keep those comments short, sorry.
Thank you. And Councilor Vigil.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just echo Councilor Freed's point. I know a lot of folks on the West Side. My family's from there. a lot of folks believe that we need more housing options, right? And it's a historic neighborhood. I know that very, very intimately. And I think, yeah, it's getting late and I'm a little cooked, but I just wanted to say too that, I've talked to a lot of people who can't make it to council meetings, but they call and they're in support of this. And so I'm listening to that perspective too. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to reiterate and emphasize the things that my fellow councilors have just said. Also, as a property owner in the neighborhood, knowing that I personally am in support of ideas of a zoning overlay, things like that, there are still many, many things that we can do to make sure that we are protecting vital ecosystems, riparian areas, etc. And now I just lost my train of thought. We talk a lot about people have been throwing around the words carrot and stick. Carrot sometimes is an incentive for the developer, or the stick that the city doesn't have to prevent people from developing on this. And I think of the steps that are being put in place throughout the last difficult council votes, almost more as guardrails at this point, because this is another tool in our kit to dictate how things happen and what effect that it can have. And if I am faced again with a situation in which I am asked to vote for more or less control over something, then I am going to vote for more. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councilor Shumway.
I'll be brief. It's always been my intent to make the decisions which is best for the city of Laramie. However, it's been my observation that this council, including myself, has been very careful to give greater weight to the west side and to West Laramie when possible. And not that we do it all the time, but that's something that we have been very conscientious about. And I will continue to do so. However, I'm going to support this because I think it's best for the city of Laramie in whole.
Thank you. Further comment? I also have heard from a number of people who live on the west side who see this favorably. And I recognize this is private property. And I hear multiple suggestions of preserving this as a preserve or a nature space, but this property belongs to someone, and the cost of doing that and maintaining that, et cetera, is beyond certainly anything the city could even begin to entertain. And the private owners are ready to sell, and those types of arrangements take a very long time. And I have received really significant input from people on the west side who have not been here. We have heard from 8 to 10 people over the course of a number of meetings. We've listened carefully. I've really thought about it. And this is a difficult decision because we do, I agree, Councilor Shumway, we have been very supportive of the west side, of supporting your bid for historical recognition. And we were supportive that when we became aware that the property would be for sale, at that time, it was zoned industrial too, which could have been a junkyard, it could have been a human waste disposal incinerator, it could have been a distribution center. And those things, I think, and we thought as a council would have been catastrophic to the integrity of the west side. And we worked with the owners toward having it rezoned residential to prevent an industrial site from happening there. And we've been working on this 2 years. So I think that this is only phase 2, and there are going to be multiple opportunities for input. And the last thing I'd like to say related to an overlay, the call has been that council should do an overlay, but council can support an overlay, but I think it would be really presumptuous for us to dictate what your overlay would be. And that needs to be something that the residents of the community get together and work with us, but I don't even know what it is that the residents would like. And I don't think I'm the one that should determine what the overlay would be for your neighborhood. So I think that needs to be generated within the neighborhood, brought to council and brought forward. And I think that that's something that we would be willing to entertain. So without further comment, if you can call the roll, City Clerk.
Freed.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes, and it is 9:29. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
I move that we suspend the rules to at least get through the next item.
Second.
I have a motion by O'Doherty, a second by Freed. What?
Mayor, can I just have a clarification, just make sure we have it recorded? Is it just to complete the next item, or is it to go?
To complete till 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I move that we suspend
to complete our meeting.
To complete our meeting. Thank you.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay. So, motion by O'Doherty, second by Freed. City Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Okay, so we will move on to the next agenda item. Okay, Councilor Vigil.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the Laramie City Council approve Resolution 2026-31, awarding $231,267 in fiscal year 2026-2027 community partner funds, is contingent upon the adoption of the 2026-2027 budget, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion by Vigil, second by O'Doherty. Good evening, City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. What's before you tonight is the award of the community partner funding in the total amount of $231,267. That amount is provided in the attachment and divided out between, I gotta move my computer around a little bit. We've got recreational and cultural organizations and nonprofit organizations are the two divisions, or social service organizations, and then civil quasi-governmental organizations. As you look at the division and the divide through that, this is fifth penny funding with $19,120 awarded to quasi-governmental organization, $164,843 to social service organizations, and $47,304 to recreational organizations. With that being said, this is an average of all 9 councilors' awards and broken down into percentages to make sure that we meet the 231-267 number. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions, councilors? None. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Back to council for comments. Vice Mayor?
Just a big thank you to Nancy O.P. and Bailey at the county for all of the work that goes into this. Sure appreciate it. And the nonprofits who came forward and are doing awesome stuff in our community.
I agree. And also, thank you to Councilor Bowling and to the Vice Mayor for their work on kind of streamlining and updating the process and working with Nancy Opie and Bailey to do that. So it's been quite a bit of work, and I thank all of you counselors. I know that this is a very difficult decisions because all of these people deserve support. So I appreciate the work and the thoughtfulness that you put into it. Further comment? City Clerk, call the roll, please.
Feehill.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Next, Councilor Newman.
I move that the Laramie City Council approve Resolution 2026-32, adopting policy goals and objectives for the City of Laramie, Wyoming for fiscal year 27, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion from Newman, second from O'Doherty. City Manager.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, as you may recall, January 23rd and 24th, we had a council retreat. We met again on April 22nd to finalize the goal setting to coincide with what our new philosophy is with the fiscal year. So what this will do is this will line up with the budget is our intent as you see that over the next coming weeks. We broke it down into numerous categories between financial sustainability, community engagement and communication, infrastructure, economic development, housing, environmental, and public safety. I'm actually very excited about the goal setup as we're moving forward and look to hear your comments and discussion related to the resolution or any of the deliverables that were presented in the packet. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions and or comments right now? Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Manager. I just want to thank all my fellow council members for the teamwork and the staff and all the directors and whatnot being able to put these together because, you know, the first year for 4 of us was pretty overwhelming, and this year we were able to I think take a deeper dive into some of it, and I appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Thank you, Councilor. Other questions and or comments? Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Manager. Just I'm looking over these, appreciate all the effort that city staff took in listening to us over the last few months and back in January, kind of hone into what we're trying to do. And I do appreciate the tone in which we're setting these with specific deliverables. And it feels very A to B, and I really do appreciate that. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions and or comments?
Mayor, if I could, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the effort of Nancy Bartholomew towards the goal creation. She, under my new work schedule, she was instrumental in helping us get closed up. And then, you know, the immense amount of support that I've had from Director Wade and all the directors as we move through to create these goals. So it's remiss not to recognize their involvement in these goals.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you know, we've spent considerable time working on these, and council gets together and we're just throwing out these ideas, and it is our leadership, both the city manager, Director Wade, and Nancy Bartholomew, that take these bubbling ideas and kind of ground it and make sense. And it's through working together and in partnership that we get this done. And we went through the first round and council said, well, wait a minute, we want this and we want this. And we were able to come back and to add and revise after we'd thought about it. And we come out with something that, like Councilor Freed said, I like the deliverables, I like the clarity of the goals, and that we're very clear about where we're going. And I think one of the most surprising things for me when I got on council was how much these goals drive the work of the staff, and that we have to be cautious as a council because they will try to do it. And so these goals are generated from council, and then they're implemented and operationalized through the staff under our supervision and voting every step of the way as we go. So are there any further comments? Let's do public comment. Is there any public comment? Mr. Henderson, then Mr. Glass. Good evening, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak during this extended session tonight. Thank you so much. My name is Eric Henderson, and in October 2021, the suggestion was made here tonight that conversation be had, an application be made by the West Side Historic District or that neighborhood, that it would be appropriate to come from them. Well, in October 2021, I was told, Eric, I don't work for you. I work for City Council. And tonight, along with many nights across a lot of time, we all have been invested in working towards something, but city staff apparently do not have the directive from you as council to them to work with community like that. I take for a specific example, February 21st.
Point of order. Mr. Henderson,
Sorry, go ahead. I'll reserve my time.
Can you share how this relates to our council goals? I'm not connecting the dots here.
I thought this was the wrap on the council night. Forgive me if it's not.
No, this is on our goals. We're voting on our goals.
I thought you were rolling through and done. So
sorry. No, I was waiting for you to come around, but I wasn't quite getting there. Okay.
Not related to that. My apologies.
No problem.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment on this agenda item, which is council goals? Mr. Glass.
Actually,
Honorable Mayor, members of council, I looked over this document, and the goals actually look very good. But some of the items that I see here under deliverables are just a little bit concerning. It said the city manager, right at the very top, the city manager's office will work with appropriate members of the leadership team to determine focus areas for revenue maximization. That's a big concern. Does that mean that that the city utilities, rather than operating efficiently, are going to go for the maximum amount of revenue and increase rates to the point where we have problems with affordability? That certainly wouldn't be a good thing. So I'm a big concerned about
clarification on that phrase?
That's well, that one phrase, yes, but
okay. Well, let's pause for a second.
Oh, okay.
Can we have clarification on that phrase and what that phrase means?
So, Honorable Mayor and members of the council, if you recall, I think there's actually a separate goal that talks about our work for the enterprise funds for our 10-year financial plans. And so that first goal really doesn't apply to our enterprise funds. What it applies to are our governmental operations, where some of the demand on services is exceeding supply, and we actually haven't updated rates sometimes in years, literally years. And so really taking a look at the demand and the rates in effect and when things were last updated, and coming up with a sustainable way for where we need to grow revenue, how to do that over time in a way that works for the community and values affordability.
Thank you. And Mr. Glass, you have your 2 minutes to finish.
Yes,
Thank
okay,
you.
thank you. It does, in that case, it may not, that language may not reflect that, because it talks about areas of general government operations where the city has control over user rates and fees to charge for services. So I just wanted to point it out. That was a little concerning when I saw that there. And further down, it said ordinances with updated rates will be considered by the city council. So again, there's a little bit concern about affordability there. On the second page, where it talks, the deliverables for the surface water drainage division talks about committing general fund reserves to fund this enhanced level of service. So now we're taking out of the general fund instead of going to the public to approve a financing plan. I'd really like to see us, again, go with Title 16 of the Wyoming statutes and have the voters approve a sustainable plan that doesn't deplete our general fund. And then under economic development and housing, I noticed that both of them talk about being focused on developers and builders' interests. And I think we should also focus on the interests of homeowners and tenants, and again, the providers of rental housing as well. I'm a little bit concerned about the focus the focus only on builders. So anyway, those are the things that I've noticed here. I think that maybe you might want to amend this before passing it to alleviate concerns like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none. Back to council for comments. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I will try to keep this short, but just a note, there have been discussions at the legislature and over water, and one of the topics that has come up is that many cities and towns have not increased their charges or their fees for utilities, and now they are finding themselves in a giant hole because they can't pay for those services. So when we are looking at this, we are looking at how do we do the very most minimal amount to make sure that we are sustainable. This isn't price gouging. This is about making sure we are sustainable as a community and that we can continue to make sure that what we are offering is being paid for. And so making sure those rates increase, because those cities and towns who have not done that are finding themselves in a world of hurt right now. And then secondly, shoot, I just wrote down water and I have no idea what it means because it's 9:44. Maybe I'll come back to that.
Thank you. Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know it's late, but I do appreciate the public comment on this. And not to dive too deep here, but I think, my assessment of these deliverables is, those are areas that we can improve. And I think we hear a lot of times there are limiting factors in people developing and coming into our community. And so this is trying to address some of these areas that we can improve. And that doesn't mean we couldn't put all of our deliverables in a 2-page document. It just wouldn't exist. But I think these are areas that we've identified as council from public feedback on what we want to see in the next few years. But I really do appreciate the public comment.
Thank you. Further comment? Councilor Shumway.
I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it again. Enterprise funds end up being zero. We don't make money, we don't lose money, we pay our bills.
All right. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Newman.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Now, public comments on non-agenda items.
Now it's you.
Continue.
I will just continue.
Okay.
I would like the goals of council, regardless of the topic, regardless of the agenda point, to never accept any staff member who tells a citizen that they don't work for us at any time. at any step, because to have 5 years transpire since those neighboring 260 North Pine petitioned, it's been very clear we want like, we want similar, and it's not being done. Council, please give directive to that end. Like and similar should not just be a business, commercial, historic downtown consideration. It should be very paramount in residences as well. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
I apologize
Henderson.
for being out of point before.
No, that's okay. Thank you. I depend on the vice mayor to help me out with that. All right. With no further public comment, is there any final comment from council? All right. Council, is there any consideration for future work topics? Too late. Too late for that. Oh, we almost got out. Yes.
You know, well, no, because I want to be more specific about it, so I will shut up now. I apologize.
We were just kidding you, but okay.
It's okay. I want to be specific, and that way I can get a second and can give city manager and staff a reasonable thing to attack. So I'll focus that up and bring it back.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Freed. Councilor O'Doherty?
I move we adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
We are adjourned.